I just wanna lay here. Don't know what I'm waiting for. Don't know what I'm aiming for. I've just gotta feel it. Late night, yeah, my head be spinning around. Yeah, I was once lost, but baby, you got me feeling found. It's time to show me how it's done. This is the glow up. Come on, it's time to have some fun. Yeah, that's right. We're gonna break it down. We're giving big love. We're gonna show them how it's done. That's right. We're gonna show them. I've got to keep fighting. Strike hard, I'm like lightning. It's my life, I rewrite it. Yeah, I'm gonna show ya. Late night, yeah, my head be spinning around. Yeah, I was once lost, but baby, you got me feeling found. It's time to show them how it's done. This is the glow up. Come on, it's time to have some fun. Yeah, that's right. We're gonna break it down. We're giving big love. We're gonna show them how it's done. That's right. We're gonna show them. I know we're gonna make it. We just played a waiting game. I know that we were born for this. I know that we are stronger. We just gotta believe in something. You just gotta believe in us. I know that we were born for this. I've got to keep fighting. It's time to show them how it's done. Yeah, this is the glow up. Strike hard, I'm like lightning. It's time to have some fun. Yeah, that's my life. That's right. And I've got to keep fighting. We're giving big love. We're gonna show them how it's done. That's right. Come on. This is our time and we're gonna show them.
Follow along on our journey through Europe in the NASCAR Euro Series. Hey guys, I'm Garrett Lowe, driver of the number 99 BS Plus Promotion Chevrolet in the NASCAR Euro Pro Series. Good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm Florian Hasper, CEO of BS Plus Competition.
Yes. Hello, I'm Rodney Lowe. I'm Garrett's dad.
It's your first time in Germany, right?
First time in Germany, like first time stepping foot out of an airport in Germany. So very exciting.
So first time on the German highway.
Yes.
How does it feel like to go as fast as you want?
Pretty good. We do not have anything like this in the U.S. You go this fast, you're arrested. So
How fast can you go in the US?
typically 70 miles an hour is about as fast as speed limits will be. Some are 75, whatever that translates to kilometers an hour. So not that fast.
So guys, we arrived at the capital of Germany. How do you like Meppen so far?
It's pretty. It's quiet. I mean, it's kind of flat. Like there's no hills.
Rodney, welcome to Germany, Garrett.
Thank you. And Rodney, how's the beer?
It's good. Good, good choice, bait.
And how's your Sprite, the fake Sprite?
I mean, like 9 out of 10, perfect. Like it's almost perfect Sprite.
What is your choice for dinner?
And dinner.
Is it schnitzel or not?
Yes, it is. It's schnitzel. Plain original schnitzel. We're gonna try it. This is my first foray into trying food. So here we go.
Good.
It's the schnitzel.
Rate is 1 to 10.
Let me try with ketchup.
Pick another one.
Let me
Yeah.
try with ketchup first. Hold on.
Second bite.
Yeah. About an 8.
8. Okay. We'll beat that in the future. How's your schnitzel?
I'm giving mine a 9.8. This is delicious. Especially
So this one is better than yours. I think you have to try this one as well.
Mine's improving. The more I eat, the improving.
mushrooms and mushroom sauce is really, this is awesome.
This is Garrett. Nice to meet you.
Dominic.
Yeah,
Nice to
Garrett.
meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hello, my name is Dominic Schark. I'm starting for pre-motion in the number 99 in the NASCAR Euro Series Open.
And the whole team.
Garrett, nice to meet you. Thank you.
Richard.
Nice to meet you, Richard. Hi. Rick, nice to meet you.
A lot of the people are coming together the first time today.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, because we grow up and everybody is, not everybody, but a lot of people are new. Right? So it's a good moment to start. Hey, I'm Patrick Brendorfer. I'm the owner of Premotion. I'm the team boss of the 77 and the 99. Basically, we are looking at 2 guys are on the 99 and 2 guys on 77. And then we have Richie and Frank. Frank is still at the truck.
Hello, my name is Frank Labeck. I build this car and I'm the crew chief for Premotion with Richard.
Which are doing the car chief.
Okay.
And that's the construction. So the 99 is brand new, everything, engine is new, gearbox is new, the sequential, all wear parts, of course, so you can say it's a new car.
Hey, nice to meet you.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
You arrived good in Germany?
Yes,
Yeah?
all good.
You good?
Yeah.
You brought good weather?
Well, yeah, we did.
Hi, I'm Happy Nessa and the female driver of this team. In total, we are just 2 girls running in the NASCAR Euro Series. And here in the background, you see my car. And we have a bit of pink. Yeah, it's the girly look. And I can't wait for this season to start. Let's go.
You had already seen the track in Valencia?
I've not seen it. I've seen pictures of it. I've seen overviews, but I haven't seen much about it physically. So
For a track that originally was designed for MotoGP, it very well suits the NASCAR cars.
yeah, it looks like it does. It flows really well.
The first corner, you're going to get so much speed in the corner. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And which part of America? Coming North Carolina?
Yeah, North Carolina. Yeah, so just south of Charlotte.
Oh, really in the core of NASCAR?
Yes, yeah, I am 45 minutes away from Charlotte Speedway. So right there at
The
it.
month of May is for you like heaven.
It is.
So Garrett, now it's time for your suit.
It is time.
Are you excited?
I am. I've seen a peek of it. Maybe not.
You will look great.
I think. Oh, dude,
I'm sure.
I know it does for sure.
Wow.
We are
You look
ready
great, man.
to go.
Here's the 99. How do you like your car number?
I like it. The font looks great. So we brought our real font in. It's a mix between the two of their original font and our font.
Ah,
so it's
very
gonna
nice.
look really good.
Do you have a favorite number?
My favorite number is 6, which is my baseball number. The problem was when I started racing Bandoleros was there was another kid whose last name was Love, L-O-V-E. And everyone kept getting this mixed up, and I was also car number 6. So what I did was when I went to a legend car, we just became 06, and that's what I've stuck with in everything else.
So now you turned to 6 and got a 9.
Yeah.
And you got it twice.
Yeah, upside down. Just look at it the right way on the roof and we're all good.
This is the one.
Yeah, this is it. Oh, and it has pockets. I checked. We're so in.
We also need a scooter.
I get a scooter?
You should get one. Maybe it won't be that fancy.
I'm in contact with Adam Norris, he's the father of Lando, and he sent me this. He really likes what I publish, and he likes my collaboration with OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And then he said, Vanessa, we can sell this now in Germany.
Yeah.
And then he sent me on Monday.
That's why they call me Slow-Lo. I'm the slowest person in the world to get ready in a race suit.
So zip it up, man. Oh, you look great. Look at that boy. So Rodney, what do you think about the suit?
I think it's awesome. He looks great in it. They did a great job designing it. It's all the way around, no matter what angle you're looking at him. It's like a professional race car driver.
It's familiar, but it's good. It's exactly as we drew it up, right? That is a beautiful piece right there, man.
Did you already spot your name on the car?
I did not yet. Well, I did now, yes. New digital dash. Very digital. Love that.
You love that?
I do. See, so that's the difference between late model racing and NASCAR is late models you typically have all analog gauges, there's no digital dashes allowed. NASCAR is moving towards full digital, so Cup is now fully digital dash, trucks are digital, and I think ARCA too. So NASCAR is moving in the digital direction, so now that we see this moving in Europe, we have our own digital dash as well.
But real racing last years, you drive the radical?
So I ran the Prodigy Racing League this past fall and beginning of this year. So that's all sim racers and esports and gamers that have won competitions and been selected to be in the draft. And then your racing's paid for basically 5 events is what it was.
So these are the tires of your car?
These are the tires. So Hoosier 330, 700. So it's in millimeters. For my English friends, I'll convert it and we'll put it at the bottom here and you'll see what the tire size is. But essentially standard 15-inch tire or 15-inch rim. It's pretty big. Almost, it looks like a late model Hoosier tire. The construction's a little different. And this one they're saying is radial instead of a bias ply as you'd see in traditional late model. So a little bit different, but same type of idea is what we're going for here. The only difference is just construction.
Okay, Rodney, yesterday evening we had German Schnitzel and you gave it a 9.8 out of 10. Now it's German currywurst. Yeah. Between 1 and 10, what do you think?
Delicious. Up there with a solid 9.
Hi guys, my name is Pete Fink. I'm the German voice of NASCAR, so they call me. I do all the NASCAR commentating, NASCAR USA, NASCAR Euro Series. See you at the tracks.
If you kind of feel something weird off the car, don't hesitate, box, okay?
Much better.
Garrett, how was your first time on the track?
It's good. Balance is good. Just shakedown, system check, make sure we're all set up and square there, and just focus on making sure that before we get the season even started, we're off on the right foot and making sure we're checking all the boxes on the checklist. So basically just a run through of start, procedure, everything I need to know to start and roll out and getting the tires cleaned off and ready to go. So it's going to make a hard run here in a few.
So good morning, everybody. Next step for Gerrit Lowe's European tour. Now we are in Munich in a very, very famous place called Gassner's Wurstbraterei, and now we will have kind of a brunch with the famous Munich Weißwurst. And I hope, Gerrit, that you're looking very much forward to it.
I am. We'll see if I like it. I'm a picky eater, so.
What would you rate your Breze?
Probably one of the best pretzels I've ever had. In the U.S., we do like a lot of toppings on it. Like you'll like brown sugar and cinnamon. I love brown sugar and cinnamon on a pretzel, but just plain salted pretzel, 9.8, probably the best one I've ever had. I don't know where the ceiling's at, but 9.8.
Okay, Gerrit, now lesson 1, how to eat a Münchner Weißwurst. You did it perfect for the moment. You have the pretzel, you have the mustard, and now I show you. You take the Weißwurst, cut it in half, and then you turn it around, and you rip like this. Yeah? Okay. You have to pull the skin out. The skin you can't eat. And then you do it like this. With the fork.
I'm ready. You ready?
Yes. Mustard?
Yeah, I'm just going to dip it.
Yes, you can dip it.
Okay.
And have a good appetite.
Yeah. It's actually pretty good. A little kicky. It's got some spice to it, but I like it. You definitely have to have them together. They're good separate, but they're better together. Like, eat a piece of your sausage with a sauce, and then follow it up with a pretzel, and it delivers a pretty good taste. Right now, I'm at like an 8 on the rating. Not as good as Currywurst. Above Schnitzel, but not there yet.
So Rodney, how would you rate your Weißwurst?
This is delicious. I'm going with a 9.7.
Wow, that's pretty high.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's between the combination of the mustard and the meat, it's delicious.
Do you like the Breze, like the pretzel?
Yeah, it's good too. And you got to go meat, mustard, and then follow it with a pretzel. That's a good combination.
The day before yesterday, Rodney tried its first Radler. And then his spontaneous reaction was, on a scale from 1 to 10, the Radler is 10.5. Is it true or not?
That is very true. Here's to the Radler, my new favorite beer. Oh, that's good.
Rodney, could you explain what is a Radler? Do you know what exactly it is?
It's a regular beer mixed with a lemony drink, like a Sprite, or some type of the lemon drink, and half, and it's delicious.
You're Bavarian, official Bavarian now. How many pretzels did you eat? Yeah, you can knock.
Hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Hello, I'm Keke Oliveira from BMW M Team BS Plus Competition.
Hi, I'm Ferris Stanley. I'm from BMW M Team BS Plus Competition.
Because of the schedule, we can go to Vallelunga.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
cheer for you.
Yeah.
So
That'd be awesome.
really looking forward to see you race and our car, and then the race tomorrow is Hockenheim.
Hockenheim.
Okay.
Yeah, Hockenheim. It's not Hockenheim. Hockenheim is ours. It's Rockingham, bro.
Rockingham.
Yeah.
This is a little bit of a special occasion. This week we'll have Rockingham for eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series on Tuesday night while I'm in Munich. So my wonderful boss, Florian, has allowed me to utilize his simulator to run the race.
And that's the livery in the game.
That is the same livery you will see on the Promotion 99 and the NASCAR Euro Series. We have all of our partners and sponsors on board in the sim as well. So I started sim racing in 2014. Didn't really take it seriously at first, just did it for fun and because I thought it was interesting. And then 2016, 17, I started taking it a little more seriously. 2018, I qualified for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. 2019 was my first season. I actually started real racing in 2016 in the Bandolero. Just ran about 10 races at the summer shootout at Nashville Superspeedway and kind of progressed from there. We slowly ran more races and then continued into Legend Cars in 2018, late models in 2023, and just kind of built up from there.
Today's the day. We are finally heading to Valencia. I mean, this is the moment we have been preparing for. Gerrit has been working towards this goal. It feels special that finally it happens. I mean, yesterday, eNASCAR race, totally surreal what we are doing here. You know, staying up until 5 in the morning. Then 1 hour later, we head to the airport. But now the real deal starts and we are, I don't know, pumped up.
Good morning, Gerrit. You look a bit tired.
Yeah, going to bed at 5 a.m., back up at 6:15. We'll do that to you. So long night, long race.
How was the race?
Race was okay. So I had a qualifying penalty, so I had to start 39th. Struggled the first run, and then we made some good adjustments there. The second run, we were really, really good. Got up to about 14th, P26. but collected points, had a clean race, and got the mission done.
So guys, we arrived in Spain, the second European country. Let's see if you like it more than Germany. What do you think?
So far it looks like rolling down interstate through about any Georgia town you go through. Doesn't look too far from home, everything's just in a foreign language, but things look kind of relatively similar.
Rodney, what did you get?
Radler.
I got a Radler, my new favorite drink.
The Spanish Radler?
Amstel. It's the Spanish Radler.
Taste test.
Good.
Better than the Munich Radler?
No, right there.
So Rodney, you changed your mind. How would you rate it now?
I'm gonna go with about a 8.8 on this one.
But why? The longer you're drinking it,
The longer I'm drinking it, it's still not having that as refreshing.
Yeah, you're not in Germany, man. Is this your first track walk?
No, it is not. I've done plenty of track walks. Typically used to doing like a van around, like take a rental car and do a lap, but it's always good to actually physically walk the track. One, you get to kick the debris around and actually know where obviously all the marbles are gonna collect, but also pick up crap that's been thrown off of other cars all day, so you don't pick up a flat in the morning in case they don't sweep the track off. And just get better visual references, right? Like walking it slow is easier to digest it than walking or driving in a car at 60 miles an hour. So from that perspective, I like walking the track. It's a long walk if it's a long track.
What are you doing?
I don't know. I just like to check and see how deep the fall off is.
Okay.
A lot of times these tracks will have either really flat gravel where you get off and you just kind of run over the gravel and it doesn't really drop the car down. And sometimes you have a deep drop off where you'll actually start dragging the frame rail, and that's when you get in trouble. This track's like, I don't know, probably about an inch or two down, so you're not gonna bottom out if you go off in this corner, but it's always good to know if you get forced off, what's gonna happen to the car. So I like to just know how far the car is gonna drop. Same thing goes for curb edges and kind of the paint and what that looks like. Let's see, my outdoor walk was 58 minutes, 2.55 miles.
Now you got big muscles in the legs.
Yes.
Day 2 in Valencia. I saw you fixed your hair.
Day 2, we are going to the photo shoot for all the drivers. So we will gear up, full suit with helmet, and we'll do the photo shoot for the series. Maybe capture a little bit of content on our own, and then kind of hang out for the rest of the day and wait for the next thing. Right now we're going through preseason tech. This is more of a check for all the updates that have been done over the offseason, new gearbox, a little bit new ducting. So they're checking all that to make sure that we're good with that. There's also, checking fuel cells, making sure we've hit all the track rules. Tracks will typically have their own set of rules that you have to go through tech with no fuel or XYZ. So for instance, to roll through with no fuel and do electronic tech and all that stuff. So yep, just double checking that everything's right to be approved.
Rodney, I got a sweater on and I'm cold. You always dress like that and you're never cold, right?
That's correct. I am very warm-blooded, hot-blooded actually. So short sleeves year-round, hardly ever a jacket. It has to be cold.
I'm Julian Rehberg, 19 years old. I'm the driver of the 77 car, and this year I will participate in the Pro Series in the NASCAR.
Hello, my name is Jens Müller. I'm working on the car number 99 as a mechanic.
Hello, my name is Brier. I'm running the car 99 for Team Motion. We built this car in Frankfurt, in Germany, and I built it together with Frank. And we'll see what happens this year.
Start mal. Was? Der ist abgesoffen.
Is for the first time on the track. How do you feel as a father?
Very excited, very proud and very excited. Glad to be here.
center, landing to center, and then a little snug off that's kind of producing a snap loose, snap oversteer. We tried a little bit of a change to help it. The first run helped a little bit, but also made it worse. So yeah, it's funny how those things work. You make it better and you make it worse. So yeah, for right now we're putting Dominic back in the car to finish the first half of the day and kind of see what he thinks. It may just be me not knowing the track as well, so we'll see what his feedback is, and maybe I just got to fix what I'm doing, and maybe as simple as that.
Rodney, I think it's the third time that I see you with this in your hand. How many did you get?
This is my fourth now.
Do you like what you see?
It looks very good. I see meat smoking.
I am drooling from both sides. I just keep wiping.
We're in a Spanish restaurant now in Valencia, and we have Ruben with us. He's from Spain, and now he will explain what we get today.
Hello, I'm Ruben, and I'm the photographer this weekend for VS Plus competition. So basically, this is like a starter, very common in Spain. Top 3 or top 2, I guess, for most of the people, and it's called jamón ibérico. For me, it's probably top 1 for me. So let's see what Garrett thinks about it.
Okay, Garrett, now it's your turn.
Yeah, I get to be the taste tester as usual. I'm skipping the cheese for now. It looks like bacon. I'll eat it. Yes. Kind of like bacon, but way better. If bacon just wasn't crispy, but you had more pork flavor, all day. This may be the 9.8 we've been looking for.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Rodney, it's your turn.
That's a combination between country ham, bacon. Oh, that's delicious. That's good. I'm gonna give it a good old solid 9.
You also have to try the cheese now. Garrett doesn't look like he wants to.
Oh, that's good cheese. Real good, really flavorful.
I just can't eat plain cheese. I'm not lactose intolerant. I just can't eat plain cheese.
As you suggested, mixing the cheese with the meat, it's going up to a 9.5. Those two combinations together is awesome.
Jamón is like so common on Christmas. In every house we have because jamón comes from the leg, and then in every house we have a leg, and we cut the jamón and we put it on a plate. So it's very, very common.
Delicious.
So Garrett, it's time for your steak.
You said Garrett.
Oh my God.
Hello, I'm Garrett Lowe. I'm Garrett's dad.
So Rodney, it's time for your steak.
And I'm ready. Cooked just right. Oh my gosh. We're going to have to get a new rating system. That is delicious.
Is it better than the schnitzel?
Oh wow, that was very close. But steak, probably the best steak I've ever had. That's delicious. Wow.
Now Garrett, what do you say?
There is nothing better than a medium sirloin. Nothing better. My rating system's broken at this point. I might as well be giving out 20 scores for this steak because it's good. Good.
Is this a 10 of 10?
Yes.
And Rodney, is yours also a 10 of 10?
Yes, most definitely.
You want to do it?
No, you're going to do it.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And now it happens.
Oh yeah.
Now you gotta go back up.
Yeah. Cheers.
Florian, what is this?
I think it's cider, Spanish version. It's Felipe Massa.
It's rough. You want to try?
No.
How would you rate the cider?
I need your name.
The cider's getting about a 3. It really is like a 2, but the enjoyment of getting the pour of that made it a 3.
I'm Alex. I'm pretty much the Swiss Army knife of BS competition. I do everything.
The other guy who's matching your times, Ivan Muller, 4-time World Touring catcher.
Yeah, he's a pro as well, yeah.
As he's also new in the series, he's doing this as well. So even in these sessions, we have sort of a direct comparison.
Yeah.
Oh, but it looks really good.
Yeah, I felt a lot better.
Yeah.
Day 3 in Valencia. The rookie challenge is done. You improved by 1.5 seconds compared to yesterday. How do you feel?
Feel good. Yeah, I was just a little bit cooler this morning, overcast, so not super hot track like we saw yesterday. Made some good changes this morning, last night, and I think we're in the game right now.
Let's go ahead and start the 2025 edition of the NASCAR Euro Series.
And every one of you guys and ladies in this room are the face of what we do in Europe.
Practice 1 is done. Congratulations, you're in the top 10. What do you say?
Yeah, top 10, pretty good. Obviously not where we want to be, still want to be up in top 5, top 3, but a bunch of guys put on new tires, which we're about to do for the second practice. So we'll set those in the car and see if that's a magical pickup. It probably will be, as always. So yeah, looking forward to trying to get the second practice in and seeing if this is good enough for top of the board.
So Garrett, practice 2 done. How did it go with the new tires?
So went pretty good, did a mock qualifying run, got held up on the first lap, so really don't know what the benchmark is for our pace as far as first lap. Second lap was pretty good, pretty clean. I think we're definitely top 10 pace. I'd like to say we're top 5 pace, but we'll just have to see once qualifying rolls around.
Have you fixed your hair already? Because now it's a group photo shooting.
I have not. I just got out of the car and just keep running my hands through it. Hopefully it looks good. It is what it is. We're gonna have a helmet on maybe, so we'll stand here and look pretty.
Rodney.
Yes, sir.
How many did you have today?
Actually, this is number 6. I've been pacing myself. I'm ready.
Day 4 in Valencia. Now it counts. The first qualifying session of the season and then the first race for Garrett Lowe. We will push.
Good luck. So they put 4 cars per group out to make the lap times.
Okay.
And then we have the in-lap, then the second group of 4 cars will be going out, and then the third group afterwards. So,
Right now?
At the moment he's P10, but now he needs another push lap.
Come on! Yeah! Come on!
Let's go! Which place is he now?
P1.
I got goosebumps right now, man.
P2, but I think the fast car dropped. I think around 5, 6. I hope we'll see. But it's really good, amazing. Best time of the weekend when it counts.
Hey, machine. Awesome. Yeah. Purple in second sector and pretty fast.
Yeah, I was hoping it'd stick top for the rest of the.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, first lap was just like trying to get them hot.
Yeah.
Outlap is freezing cold. Like there is no grip.
Second sector in the second lap fast is 50.2.
Out of everybody?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
So you're still P2 at the moment. So you're gonna get a good starting position for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah, well done, man.
Sounds good. We'll see if it sticks.
Qualifying is done. P6 for the 99 and P11 for the 77. Are you happy with the result?
Yeah, it's awesome. The lap from Garrett was incredible. Yeah, it's first qualifying for him the first time in Valencia, first race in the Euro NASCAR, and now on P6 in total. The competitors around, they have so many experience. Ivan Müller, yeah, WTCC World Champion 4 times, so that's awesome. And also the car 77 Julian, now P11, great.
So this wrapped up qualifying here in Valencia. P6 on the board. We were second fastest in our group with a purple sector 2. So a lot of positives. We had a really good car in qualifying there. So looking forward to the race this afternoon. We'll have to start on the outside for turn 1. So see how that goes for us. But great work by all the promotion BS Plus competition team to put it up top for now. I didn't like the ending, but up top. We're not over the top.
BS Plus competition. It's amazing. Hello, my name is Juan Diego Sanchez. I'm the delivery designer of Remotion team.
It's the first time that you see the car that you have designed. Are you proud and do you like it?
Yes, sure. It's awesome to be here and see it in real life. I mean, you see it on the screen, but it's nothing compared to see it with your eyes in real person. It looks amazing. Like it? Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, amazing.
It is not a full BS competition car, but
yes, but next year.
Very, very nice. We all are wonderful partners down here at the bottom. Take that in. Yeah, that's a good piece right there. Hero cards. Beautiful paint scheme on the back.
Oh my God, could I get an autograph?
First one.
I want to have it. I want to have it. Oh my God.
Great German fans, I know.
yes.
And a picture. Of course. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good, thanks. Shirt? Shirt? Okay. I'm not good at shirts. Here you go.
Thank you so much, Adam. Yes, I'm here with the 99 Garrett Lowe from the United States of America. Hello, my name is Andre Wiegold and I'm a freelancer, commentator and journalist from Germany, and I'm working for the NASCAR Euro Series. I'm a co-commentator, reporter and editor here, and I'm also part of the NASCAR commentary team of the NASCAR Cup Series on German TV. Good luck and have fun. Hopefully we'll talk after the race again.
Sounds good. Thanks, Adam.
Back to you, Adam.
Leads to a move at turn 1, but here comes Claudio Remeggio Capelli, leaning on the young American a little bit there. He's a fan of all things Americana. That doesn't mean an American driver is going to get an easy pass.
So those top 10 results, and I think that's exactly what Gianmarco Acoli is trying to do. And now Garrett Lowe gets back 6th position. What a great move in turn 1.
Plowing like a dump truck and wrecking off the corner.
Yeah, good job, my friend.
Thank you. Decent start.
Yeah, but you drove the same pace at the front, Girelli and Hazelman and all these guys, so great job.
You did it. Great drive. What you did, man, with the Capel, with the 5 car.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Like
on
that.
the inside. Yeah. An awesome drive. I couldn't ask for more. Your first points in, P6, the car's one piece, so I love the race and I'm really proud of you.
Rodney, P6.
Yes.
It's incredible.
It is. It is. It's exciting. It's awesome. He did a great job. It was a fun race to watch.
Twice top 10, P6 and P9. What do you think?
It's unbelievable for Garrett, the first race. So as he is doing this since years, so absolute unbelievable to drive the same lap times as Girelli and all these other great guys. And Julian did the same. He came from 11, I think, and now also in the top 10. So both did a great job today.
Hey guys, we just wrapped up first race of the NASCAR Euro Series here at Valencia. Finished P6, started P6, so kept our track position, had to fight it for it there towards the middle of the race, able to pick up the spot. And on the fight for the podium there at the end, kind of ran some of those guys down, so really good long run pace. Looks like we'll start 5th for tomorrow, so overall great day, great start to the season, looking forward to it.
Garrett, how does it feel to give autographs to young people?
It feels really good. I've never had these big posters. I've always had little hero cards or stuff to sign. That late model scene in the South, that's like not really a huge thing. Like you may sign a few t-shirts or a few like checkered flags or something, but you try to give away hero cards to people don't want them. Come over here and everyone wants a poster. Everyone wants a poster and it's like, okay, cool. Like I'll sign as many posters as they want.
It's day 5 in Valencia, race 2 this afternoon. Let's go.
And Garrett Lowe also lost a couple of positions in the 99 car. He's behind Sebastian Blekemolen and Gianmarco Ercoli.
Currently just behind Fabrizio Armetta and Julian Reberg. We've been told to be ready for green flag. We are ready for green flag. And look at that, Leo Hazemans was quick to get back underway. He moves in to 7th place again, catching Garrett Lowe. He moves up to 6th position. Great driving from the Dutchman, and Garrett Lowe fancies an opportunity here as well. He was ahead of Gianmarco Ercoli yesterday, and he will try and be ahead of him again today, all the way around the outside. He manages to get ahead. That was great driving from Garrett Lowe around turn 11. Paul Giffro finishes 3rd, Ivan Muller 4th, Blekemolen 5th, Hazemans in 6th, Garrett Lowe taking 7th place. Couldn't quite get past Hazemans.
A good race.
That was a fighter.
It was. That's not making mistakes. We passed him.
Yeah.
The yellow went away and I went, and he was already by me.
Yeah, that's right. The last restart, we were hearing prepare for full course yellow, and then we at least did. Some guys were quicker, so that's why I said speed up a bit, just keep the gap.
Everybody kept driving away.
Yeah, so just keep up the pace. And then last restart, they would count down to green.
Yeah.
Then halfway the countdown, we didn't hear anything anymore. And then Liam just was 1 second quicker.
Well, I went that we were on the backstretch with the green light, and as soon as the yellow went away, I went, and he was already by me.
So I think you made a quite a bit of jump start then. But the tempo you had was like all the other guys in the front. So race pace, like I said, was good. Yeah, it's a shame.
Rodney, you seem a bit disappointed. What do you say to the race?
Oh, it was a great race. Just we got through the start okay, and then just raced pretty clean the whole race. But we needed a couple more positions. But I'm happy. He won't be as happy, but I'm happy. It was a great race.
So Garrett, I don't know if I'm wrong, but you don't seem happy about the race. You started P5, finished P7. What goes through your head?
Yeah, well, I just didn't get a good start at the end of the day. Not a bad start through turn 1, just got put 3 wide, and then I really should have defended a little better, but I mean, it's just a lesson I had to learn the hard way, so take that and move forward and know what I got to do. But I mean, overall, I think we had a pretty impressive weekend. Obviously not the finish we wanted in race 2, especially given I think we had a really good pace, probably top 4 pace. So yeah, disappointed because I know the mistakes I've made, but just have to move forward.
You look like a NASCAR fan. How was your weekend?
It was very great. We are here in Valencia for the first time. A really good track, really good drivers. Everything is perfect.
Thank you to everybody that helped get this project on track from BS Plus in promotion. It's been a huge opportunity. I'm very thankful for it and just grateful to be here. And we'll reset, regroup, and go get them in Italy.
So this is the world premiere at the end of the weekend of the country song about Garrett Lowe.
Thanks to AI.
He goes low, 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 and the green flag drops. keeping tight to the line, never gonna stop. Low through the heat and the smoke. Dreaming big from a town where the roads stay broke.
Look how big the beach is.
I think you'll spend more time walking to the water than you will on the beach.
In the States, we walk on the beach, on the sand. Here, you walk to the ocean on the sand, and you have your beach walk and you walk back.
And one with Luis?
Mama, this is Lewis.
So, Rodney, what are we doing?
Well, it's the last piece of bread. So here in the South, I'll grab this side and you grab that side. We'll see who ends up. There we go. We split the bread.
Okay. This is rabbit. Chicken is more white.
So, Rodney, we are eating paella now.
Yeah. I'm going to get a piece of chicken and a piece of rabbit.
So that should be the specialty from Valencia. Let's see how it tastes. I hope you like it.
We're going to dive in big and go with the rabbit.
You've never eaten rabbit before, right?
And the way it's cut, and I'm not going to.
What does it taste like?
A boneless, skinless chicken thigh. So let me try the chicken. Oh, that's chicken.
And now the rice.
Oh, the rice is delicious.
What would you rate it between 1 and 10?
Actually, it's about an 8. Maybe 7.5.
So it's the worst what we've eaten right now. I'm so sorry because we have to eat all of that.
That's good rice.
You don't want to try the chicken and try the rabbit?
No. I had in pre-K, I had the class pet was a bunny. I can't eat rabbit, man. I can't do it.
How was the beach?
It was awesome. The water felt warm.
Oh, you felt the water? You were in the water?
Yeah, we touched the water.
So Lewis told me that I'm supposed to close out the video. So I'm gonna close out the video by saying, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed Valencia for rounds 1 and 2 NASCAR Euro Series. We've had a great trip. This has been awesome. Started in Meppen, started in Munich, really. And then Dusseldorf, and then Munich, and then Oschersleben. So we've been around the country and then into Spain. So just hope everybody enjoyed watching this. We're trying to have a lot of fun with it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.
In NASCAR 25, we really saw the opportunity to do something different with the race day experience. So having worked on a bunch of different NASCAR games in my career, it's always been sort of the same flow when you get to the race weekend of, practice, qualify, and race. And while we wanted to have those features in there, obviously, we wanted to make them all feel very unique and memorable.
So to execute there, we've actually taken certain areas of each track and really built these scenes where we can show the car models in a different way. Traditionally, we've only shown the car models once you actually get on track, and now we're using them almost like a character in a movie.
So one of the ways that we've done that is we're doing everything at the racetrack from the driver's perspective. When you get to the racetrack, you're down in the pits, you're in the garage, you're intermingling with your crew members, with your team, you're in your car. There's no concept of what is a normal race day UI where you're just clicking through menus. You're actually the driver at the track in your car, interacting with your crew chief and your spotter.
Everybody knows that iRacing is all about authenticity. It's not just a marketing slogan, right? The company was literally founded on this notion of being authentic first and realistic. We've talked a lot about car models and track models and laser scanning, but we haven't really gotten into the sound yet. And when you come to these NASCAR tracks, the sound is everything, right? In NASCAR 25, every engine sound that you hear is actually recorded from those real world race cars. And one of the things we're super excited about this year is the spotters. You have not one, but 2 real world Cup spotters that we're working with in Josh Williams and TJ Majors, and we've learned so much from these guys.
Playing these games enabled me to become part of a community that gave me an opportunity to get involved in something that I love.
My grandfather was general manager at the Martinsville Speedway for about 25 years. So just grew up around the track, listening to radios, didn't really know anything different. My parents they did sell souvenirs for Del Senior. So for 20 years they did that. So just always being around it.
You know, being involved in a game like this is unique, man, and it's really cool. I don't think you know, it's not an opportunity that comes along to everyone all the time.
So spotting started late 70s, early 80s. A few drivers just wanted an extra set of eyes just to kind of see the rest of the track where they couldn't see it. And then everybody started realizing it was a benefit for them. So then everybody kind of ended up with them every week. And then NASCAR finally made it mandatory, I think early 90s. Some bigger accidents, people got hurt, so they made them mandatory now. So there has to be a spotter on the roof before they let your car leave pit road.
So one of our big focuses with NASCAR 25 is this notion of immersion and emotion. And we're really tapping into the emotional side of what it's like to be a driver. And one of the examples with Junior was we asked him, you know, you go to a race weekend, when are you most stressed out? And his answer really shocked us. You'd think it was, you know, being 4 wide at Talladega for 4 or 5 hours straight, and actually it was qualifying. And he said, you know, when I'm the most stressed out, I'm actually sitting on pit road, I'm about to go out, I hear that car go by before me, official waves me on, and I know it's my turn. And he's like, I got this taped up car, I'm ready to send it down into turn 1 and just see what happens. And not only that, but I'm the only car on the track, and I've got the entire industry watching me. And it was really that sort of light bulb from a design perspective that was like, oh, we need to put a lot more emotion into not just the racing, but all of these other stages that the drivers go through on a race weekend.
One of the good challenges, I think, for us trying to build this product is the sensory overload and putting you in the moment, like right before you get into the car, feeling like, you know, the spectacle of the Daytona 500, the pre-race, all the build-up, bringing all of that in and trying to build the anxiety and build the nerves up in the user so that they realize how critical a moment is and they feel that pressure and anxiety to perform and succeed. And that's a fun challenge, but one I think we're up to the task. Visit NASCAR25.com for more information on the game, and make sure you follow us on social media at NASCAR25Game.
Tonight on Countdown to Green, we take a look back at the Coca-Cola 160. E-Racers Parker Kligerman stops by. And we check out how you're racing at home with the Logitech Show Us Your Rig segment. All that and more coming up on Countdown to Green.
Hello and welcome to the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. This is Countdown to Green. I'm your host Camille, and joining me as always we have Alan. But Alan, we don't have Ryan, which means Jake is joining us today. Welcome to the show, Jake.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I tell you what, this is going to be one real treat of racing action that we've got here tonight. We're in the Music City here at Nashville Superspeedway, and the music to everybody's ears will be 40 different Toyotas, Fords, and Chevrolets pinning the right foot down to the floor.
Jake, you're getting me excited. I'm just so happy to be back. It's our second week in a row. It was a great weekend of racing in Charlotte. I saw a lot of our drivers, Camille, in real life. The Spire guys were out there. You know, Femi and Steven Wilson. Tucker Minter was there. Casey Curran, we'll see him later in the show. But just to see him in person and get that vibe going again was very fun.
Oh yeah, you gotta love that vibe. I'm thinking maybe we vibe out to some music later on, or maybe we sing since Nashville. But we'll decide on that first. A little. You first, Alan. You first. Maybe not. But you know what we will do? Speaking of Charlotte, we're gonna check in with what happened last race in Charlotte, Jake.
Yeah, we absolutely are. It was a wonderful bit of green flag running here, of course, over the 160 laps. They only went to 3 cautions, one of which happening in overtime. And Alan, the real crux of the race was down to the fact that we spent the first 153 laps of that race with just the one caution to deal with. It was very clean as they went through, but a lot of hard battling as you saw in the early stages.
Yeah, just one caution, but great racing, Jake. As you're seeing here, we saw a lot of 3-wide racing, this is our friend Blake McCandless here going hard at it. A lot of good 2- and 3-wide racing. What I loved about this ended up being a preview for the real life stuff we saw on Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights in real life. The multiple grooves, the really good racing. There were some cautions later on in this race, but we saw Casey Curran with the lead. We saw some of the best. Steven Wilson led for some laps. Parker White was out front. And then a lot of it came down to strategy as Tucker Minter had to make his way through the field. Here it was, Jake, in the pits is where a lot of this really changed.
Absolutely, Bobby Zelensky there taking a little tap on the back, but then you had a lot of work. That was Colin Bowden trying to make 3-wide work. The late charge of Tucker Minter had to really work hard and dig deep to move through. And how about this, Alan? 4 wide on the back stretch as they fought Seth the Merchant down low.
I loved it. I mean, 4 wide for the lead. You saw just how much this means. Sort of a home race for a lot of these guys. Big stuff on the back. Set up overtime finish. Not 1, but 2. Tucker had the best restarts of the night and beat some of the best out there. He was able to get another win on the season. And Jake, what a run it was.
It was a fantastic run, and that brings up then your segment 2 driver standings. Remember, there's $3,000 on the line and 5 playoff points. Bobby Zelensky in control at the moment, but you look further down the field, it looks like a tailor's shop. There's ties everywhere.
Yeah, and look, this what this means. You get the extra money and everything, and the same thing with the team standings. There's pride, there's money on the line. This is season long. Look at the top now. We have a tie. Channel 199 Sim Racing, Travis Pastrana's crew, Spire Motorsports, they are tied at the top. Atlassian Williams, only 9 behind. I'm looking at the 5th place team, William Byron Esports. That's all Tucker Minter. That team needs Nick Ottinger to kind of do his part. Having a rough year out of Boss is, but if he can pick up his side, Camille, William Byron Esports is going to climb the ladder once again.
Oh, well, we're going to have to see. There's still a lot of racing left to go in this series, but we are almost halfway there. But you got to talk about what happened in Charlotte, Jake. What were your thoughts coming out of that?
Well, it's a lot of my thoughts and a lot of Ryan Vargas' thoughts as well, is that Tucker Minter is taking up the mantle and stepping up to the plate. Steven Wilson's got 3 wins. The question is, who's going to go up there and match? And with 2 victories in the last 3 rounds worth of racing, it's Tucker Minter who's saying, I'm going to be the driver who steps up and says the challenge is there. Every driver wants to get a win and they're in, but if you get 2, if you get 3, you're guaranteeing that place in the playoffs.
And Jake, I'm just looking at how he's doing it because, look, Steven Wilson is fast. Parker White is fast. Bobby Zelensky has proved he is fast. But both times Tucker Minter has won this year, it's been somewhat on pit strategy, staying out a little longer, having fresher tires at the end. Yes, there are fast drivers, but you have to have a smart team and strategy behind you if you want to win some of these races, potentially a championship. Tucker has both of those things right now, and that's how he is getting these checkered flags. I love that aspect. We'll see how far it can take him.
I'm just wondering, Wilson, what are you doing, man? Are you trolling us? I wasn't going to put our picks last week, but you know what? We're going to see what happens later on in the show with our picks, this week for this race. Now, as you mentioned, Alan, over the weekend, Memorial Day long weekend, the Coca-Cola 600 happened, and there was a lot that happened off the track. And to help us get a glimpse of what went down, we have Casey Kerwin.
Having a brand like Coca-Cola is great. Having big brands behind what we do is a bit of validation to what we do and what everyone's been pushing for. Being in the Coke Series has definitely changed my life, especially since 22. Obviously the money side was good, but also just a lot of cool opportunities, cool people, things that I never would have gotten to do and people I've gotten to meet through that. So yeah, for that, I'll always be grateful for that. Thanks to everyone in the Coca-Cola Racing family for their support. It's been a great few years with them as the title sponsor of the series, and me being in the Coca-Cola car this year has been great. So big thanks to them.
I tell you what, it's one of the most amazing things to see just how far sim racing has come along from, say, back when I started 10, 12 years ago. You look around and see what you've got, the sim coaching, the military appreciation with the United States, United Service Organizations, and the likes of getting a meet and greet with the Boys and Girls Club of America. I mean, to be a part of Memorial Day weekend is something that is every driver's dream, let alone sim racer's dream.
Yeah, I love the validation, the acceptance of this series in with the real life stuff. I mean, to see Casey Kerwin out there. Again, Spire Motorsports had their drivers, Stephen Wilson, Femiola, a part of their fan day. Tucker Minter was in victory lane with William Byron when William Byron won the Xfinity race on Saturday. They brought him in. They both celebrated their Charlotte win. There's so much integration now between the two worlds. It's really cool to see, Camille.
It is really nice, and of course, you know, Hill and Lowe were also there. I love when we get to see the drivers in the real world, but I also like when we get to learn more about them off the track, and that's what we're going to do with another segment, Rapid Fire.
The last song I got stuck in my head was Grand Finale by Mac Miller.
My last song I got stuck in my head is probably Thanks for the Memories by Fall Out Boy.
Push Go by Poppy.
Probably Smile by Morgan Wallen.
The last song to get stuck in my head is Chasing You by Morgan Wallen.
Probably Thinking About Me by Morgan Wallen. I'm a big Morgan Wallen fan.
Zombie by the Cranberries.
The last song that got stuck in my head was Thick of It by KSI.
Thank You by Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike.
Houdini by Eminem.
We Can't Stand Together by Nickelback.
Probably Till the End by Logic.
Drive by Alan Jackson.
I'm thinking Hell's Bells by AC/DC.
The last song I had stuck in my head was by Fleetwood Mac. It's called Landslide.
The last song stuck in my head is One Last Breath by Creed.
Desperately by George Strait.
March Madness by Future.
90210 Travis Scott.
The last song that got stuck in my head is Uh-Oh by Tate McRae. Appetit by Rosie and Bruno Mars.
Tweaker by Jello.
The song that always gets stuck in my head because I used to listen to it before qualifying is Africa by Toto.
Favorite comfort food is jambalaya.
Doritos.
Oh, my favorite comfort food is probably popcorn.
Favorite comfort food has got to be a good bowl of chicken noodle soup.
My go-to comfort food is cheesecake.
Anything that has a ribeye steak.
My go-to comfort food is French fries.
My favorite comfort food is pizza.
Pizza.
Pizza. Probably pizza. Gotta be pizza. No question about it.
Favorite comfort food is pasta carbonara.
Spaghetti and garlic bread.
Chicken parm.
My parents aren't gonna like this, but I'm gonna have to say mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese.
My favorite comfort food is mac and cheese.
Favorite comfort food's probably chicken nuggets.
Chicken tenders, I just like to eat them all the time.
Best comfort food is chicken tenders.
Probably a good old cheeseburger. Can't go wrong.
Probably just a nice bowl of brown rice and grilled chicken.
You might roast me for calling it General T-South chicken, but I'm a huge fan. Oh man, I'm a boomer. I don't, I'm the old guy. All these youngins, this is all their phrasing.
Michael Cozy Jr. has unlimited Riz.
Ooh-wee. Has Jordy Lopez come through here yet? He might be my option.
Oh, me for sure. If it's not me, it's probably Malik, maybe.
Taylor Hurst has the most Riz in the series.
I definitely have the most Riz in the series.
The most Riz, Colin Bowden.
The most Riz in the series is also Colin Bowden.
Best most Riz in the series, again, Colin Bowden.
I gotta say Colin Bowden.
The person with the most Riz in the series is also Colin Bowden.
Most Riz in the series is definitely me. I mean, this hair right here, look at this. I can't know anything from me.
Stephen Wilson has the most Riz in eNASCAR.
I think Stephen Wilson has the most Riz in the series.
Blaze Crawford. The most Riz out of any driver is going to be me. No question about it.
Graham Bowen has most Riz. I'm going to go with Graham Bowen. Graham Bowen has the most Riz in NASCAR.
Yes, I do know what Riz is, but that's some brain rot stuff right there. I don't know.
I really don't think any of the drivers have Riz.
Nobody in the series has Riz.
I mean, probably not me. I don't know if anybody in the series has any Riz, if we're being honest, but, we could hit the Rizzler face.
Wow, I think it tells you quite a lot here about who's got confidence with what. We're into a little bit of practice that we got out there at the moment here at the Music City at Nashville Superspeedway. So that's just about going on at the moment. We'll be heading down to qualifying at the end of Countdown to Green as well as racing action. So we will be jumping in forward with that soon. But I tell you what, that gives you a massive insight into where drivers' minds are, because you look around at that and you say, well, we're all having fun, yes, but we've got to go out there and say, right, we've got all this camaraderie and fun, but now we need go time.
Hey, I'm just looking at Tucker Minter there. Can you imagine him listening to George Strait and eating chicken tenders right now as he's making those practice laps? Because that's what he just told us.
Blake just having ribeye steak as
anything that includes a ribeye. Like, what else is there, Blake? What includes a ribeye? I got to ask him about this later.
He has fancy taste, and you know what? A lot of the drivers has a lot of confidence, more than I expected about Riz. And you know what, Graham, I'm here for the brain rot, so we're gonna have to keep bringing those. But for now, we're gonna take a look at your rigs at home for my favorite segment. This is Logitech Show Us Your Rigs, where we get to see how you're racing at home. Our first one is from Ryan. Ooh, this is look at a huge poster, Alan. That kind of took me by surprise here.
Yeah, hey, whatever it takes, whatever you're a fan of, I like that. But look, this is a homemade rig. I like that. It looks like they put it together themselves. It just shows you what you can do with a little ingenuity. But look, the monitors, the 4 monitors, the 3, the curvature like that is sweet. And I love a good sticker. I love a good decal.
Yeah, I gotta love it. And you know what? Sometimes I like simplicity. And this one from Doug, it's nice and simple, nice and clean. Right, Jake?
Yeah, I'd certainly say it's nice and clean there. You got the case of when you sit down, you look at it, what do you need a sim rig to be? It needs to be practical, and that is the practicality that we see. It doesn't need to be massive. It's just a case of pedals and steering wheel, and absolutely go for it.
This next one is from Lee, brought to us by X, or on X. This one here, what are you thinking, Alan?
Oh, I know a lot of people are jealous of those Star Wars posters, the original 3 movies. I can appreciate that. Another home build, another put together rig like that, a nice seat, and a nice wide monitor. You don't need 4, you don't need a bunch of them, but nice one wide one. Perfect. Perfect job, Lee.
Perfect job, Lee. Our next one is from Giovanni. Woo! Talk about professional, Jake.
I tell you what, if you want immersion, the absolute level of immersion, to have your own safety netting on the side of your sim rig. Are you worried about debris coming through the screen and actually collecting you on the side? It's an amazing level of getting the feel of a car, getting the feel of being a racing driver.
Well, I'm getting all the feels seeing your rigs at home, so be sure to send us more like this one here. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
No, thank you for this. We love the pets.
Can you imagine asking that little pup to move when you have to get in for a race? I mean, I wouldn't do it. I would just say, oh, I can't race right now. Oh.
Yeah, he's your racing buddy. He's your sidekick. He's your spotter. All right, there we go. We got it. Thank you so much for showing us your rigs at home. Be sure to send your rigs to us using the hashtag eNASCAR, tagging iRacing and eNASCAR as well on all the social medias. We love it. We love it. And we also like, Alan, when you give us the inside scoop, when you get to catch up with, someone prominent in our community. Who do you have this time?
Absolutely. We have noted racer, noted car owner in this series, noted broadcaster Parker Kligerman. Parker Kligerman, one of the best advocates for eNASCAR. He was able to join us, and we just started off by asking him, look, of course there are drivers that move on to in real life driving. There are broadcasters that move on to be broadcasters in real life. And we asked him just how big and how this sport of eNASCAR is evolving. Here's what he told us.
Yeah, I get asked often by, young kids will come up to me and be like, I want to be a broadcaster. And I'm like, first of all, you got to fail in racing. I'm just kidding. But I had a very unconventional path into the broadcast world. But what I've seen over the last couple of years, and my best advice to any young individual who came up to me and said, I want to be in broadcast, I'd say, well, if you want it to be in motorsports, the great thing that's in front of you and easily accessible is to start commentating on sim racing. And I was like, at the end of the day, you just need to be creating content. For all these broadcasters, they want someone who is obviously comfortable in front of the camera, but, even better, has an audience, has a community around them, is already making content, showing how creative they are, that sort of thing. And then just in terms of understanding how to, be a part of a broadcast, sim racing, yes, it's simulating real racing, but the broadcast is real broadcast. So it's not a simulation of anything. It's an actual broadcast. And therefore, I think it's a great training ground. And, guys like Blake McCandless, who has worked with me as a pit spotter and now has gotten chances to do some national broadcast as a broadcaster and does the Cars Tour and that sort of thing. I just think it's the natural path. And so I believe in the next 10 to 15 years, majority of your racing broadcasters will, come from the sim racing world in some respect.
Great advice there, especially for young broadcasters. But as we said, he's such an advocate for this series. Parker Kligerman, Landon Castle, they've been team owners since 2019. We asked them what got them involved way back when.
I've been involved with the eNASCAR series since the teams were brought in, and it's been a really cool part of my life. I feel like in a lot of respects, I've been able to bring in some really big partners that had never been a part of sim racing, like Valvoline a couple years ago, and some others out there. And then as Landon and I started the eRacer brand that was, big sim racing events, it was just natural to try and support the idea of the top level of sim racing, which to us is eNASCAR. And, getting the opportunity to just sort of be a team owner without all the risk of owning a real car. It's all the good parts and none of the bad so far. I think it's something that he and I always joke about, is one day obviously owning real race teams or being involved in that capacity. It's a dream of mine for sure. And so I think for us, it's been a great, sort of dipping your toe into what that entails and all the stuff around it without actually having to own the race car and crash damage. That would be the big scary one. But, it's been fun. It's really cool. It's great on Tuesday nights to check in on your guys' broadcast. And we'll be texting each other, hey, we're doing well on this one. Oh, no, we're running terribly. Turn it off immediately. No, we don't do that. Sorry. But, we definitely, we pay close attention. And, especially in the races where we've got a shot it late in the race, I always think it's so much fun. And it's just as fun to me to, see our brand doing well and being in the fight for a victory. And I get the same, level of excitement as if I was in the race myself. So, I think I feel very involved, and it's cool to support eNASCAR and iRacing and in what they've done with this whole series and how much it's grown and how much it's sort of in the culture now of racing. If you went to a racetrack, 4 or 5 years ago and you mentioned eNASCAR, they'd kind of look at you and be like, what are you talking about, man? What do you mean? And now you mentioned like, yeah, our team won eNASCAR the other day. And it's like, I saw that. That's cool. Congrats, man. And it's like, it's just sort of ingrained in the culture now. So that's super cool. And we'll keep doing it as long as they'll have us. Hopefully we can win more. We've been on a little bit of a cold streak as of late, the last couple of years. We actually tried, I think, to finish dead last a year ago, but we didn't. We actually failed at that too. So we're trying to turn it around. Hopefully we can get back up front. Logan, he's been close, so we'll see.
And what's cool, not only Parker, but his broadcast teammates, former co-workers, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Steve Letarte, also team owners in this series. We asked, is there a little group chat going on, egging each other on? Here's what he told us.
We have, for sure. It's come up. Bragging rights, we text each other at times. When there was some tense times in free agency, there was definitely some texts fired back and forth between each other. So that's been fun. Yeah, we definitely do. And it's just like, I think of any form of competition, right? Or any sport, like you have owners because owners are competitive. We're competitive. That's why we're here, right? And we like to joke with each other and especially let it be known when we've beaten the other. And we are not, we are not dissimilar in that way for sure. I think in the last couple of years, we've all not done as well as some of the other teams. So we all need to pick it up. It's like some more sophisticated entities have come in and we've got to sort of go back to the drawing board and get more sophisticated. But yeah, I think especially when I was first couple years winning a lot, that was a good time. I definitely let it be known.
Big thanks to Parker Kligerman joining us just then. He said one of his competitors, fellow friend Dale Earnhardt Jr., owns the team Junior Motorsports. One of his drivers, Brier Lrad. Let's learn more about him right now.
Tip I wish I would have gotten when I started was definitely to take the auto clutch off. Make sure that is off so you don't lose speed on restarts. Brier, Lrad, Manchester, Tennessee. This is my 3rd season in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. My biggest accomplishment so far was getting my first win last year at Michigan in the series. That was pretty cool. A lot of support from Junior Motorsports. That was really fun. Really love to achieve a championship in this series. That'd be really cool. Obviously, the competition's tough. So right now, my goal for this year would be a playoff run. Any tracks I'd like to see on the schedule would probably be... I think we should bring back Bristol Dirt. I think that was fun. Even though it's not there anymore in real life on the schedule, I think having a dirt track in the Coke Series would be fun. The advice I give to newer people wanting to come into eNASCAR is to find the right group of people to work with and just have fun with it. That's all it is. You just want to have some fun with it and just realize that it takes time to get to the level that we're at right now. It took me many years to get there, so seat time's the best time. The tracks I'm most looking forward to is definitely Nashville Superspeedway. I gotta get a win there at one point. I would love for people to remember me just for being as nice as possible and doing you right, and just, you know, treating you good on track, off track, wherever it is. I just try and do good by people.
And this was 2 weeks ago. Time slot 1, split 2. Brier Lrad taking an open setup victory in the iRacing Indy 500. One of what has to be over the course of fixed and open 150 different winners which were out there overall, which included the top split running, which I had the opportunity to commentate on, of Peter Berryman and Philip Kraus. So that's some wonderful work, and that is a lot of milk that has to be consumed.
He's like our Kyle Larson. I mean, it's NASCAR, IndyCar. It's very cool, Brier.
Very, very, very cool. But you know what? We're getting closer to Nashville, the race. Alan, it's your time to tell us the trends when we get to Nashville. What should we be thinking of before heading into the race?
Yeah, we got to look to the past and maybe predict the future. Every Nashville race has had a different pole setter. We'll hear about the pole setter here in a second, but it was Brier Lrad back in 2022, Ada Boss in 23, Bobby Zielinski last season. We'll see who it is coming up this season. Steven Wilson has the highest average finish of any driver with multiple starts at Nashville, and that's 9th. Pretty good. Top 10, Steven Wilson every night. Did any of us pick him for tonight? We'll have to find out. 9th, not too bad. Out of every driver that's ever led laps here, only one has done it in multiple races. Think about that. Only one driver, Vicente Salas, is the only driver to lead multiple Nashville races. Interesting stat there. Just shows you how tough this race can be. 2 of the 3 Nashville winners went on to make the playoffs, but neither of them continued on to the championship for that year. Pretty interesting. We're talking Tucker Minter, Jimmy Mullis there. So do you want to win? I mean, of course you do, but what does that mean for your future? We'll just have to see if someone can change that tonight. Nashville winners did not win again that season. Again, interesting. For all 3 drivers, it was the only win of their entire season. Ray Alfala, Jimmy Mullis, Tucker Minter last year, who you thought would be a championship threat or favorite, his only win came in Nashville. Again, do you want to win? Of course. Do you want to win Nashville? The numbers say, I don't know. Maybe we'll buck some trends tonight, guys.
Hey, okay, now no more pessimistic thoughts, okay, Alan.
I'm a numbers guy, that's all.
That is true. We do love the input, and I kind of wish I had them before I chose my picks. But you know what? Speaking of picks, why don't we get to it? Jake, of course you're here subbing in for Ryan, so I'm pretty sure Ryan has a pick, but I'm curious about your pick as well.
Well, we'll start with Ryan's pick because I think that becomes important for the points game that we're playing right now. And Ryan, I think, has gone for the most predictable pick out there of what the field is, and that is going to be Parker White. And the reason why is 5 top 5 finishes this year without a victory. He's knocking on the door. He's basically, let me in to victory lane. And hopefully he'll have that chance to. But if I had a pick, I'm going to go curveball. I think Donovan Strauss is going to have a good day today. He's done really well on the even rounds of the championship. We're on an even round 8. He was 4th in Las Vegas, 5th in Richmond. That gives me a good idea of his form book. I think he's going to have a good night.
Interesting. You're going with some trends there with the even rounds. All right, my pick is I'm going with the momentum, Tucker Minter. I think he gets the win tonight, bucks all the trends, and gets his second win in a row. I've just heard good things about he and his teammates and the people, the group he runs with. I think he does it tonight again, Camille, back to back.
All right, well, you know what? I think that's a wise choice because also I am going with Tucker Minter. I think he's going to break some records and maybe break the Nashville curse. That seems like it's happening as we look to trends. But there you have it. There's our picks. Let us know what you're thinking. Tag us on our socials because I'm curious how this Nashville race will go down almost halfway through the series. It's going to be interesting, but what you got to do at home is, well, grab a snack, grab some Coca-Cola, and enjoy the race. We just also had it that, Jake, you have pole sitter as well?
Yes, I do. He hasn't had a victory in what is coming up 3 years. He was very good. His last victory was at Bristol, and so at a circuit that has similar characteristics, it's Ryan Loser who's got the pole.
Ooh. Okay,
nice.
This is turning out to be very, very interesting as we head into the race. So yes, as I said, grab some snacks, grab some Coca-Cola, and we'll be back right after this break with the race. Thank you so much for tuning in to Countdown to Green.
Welcome to the Proving Ground. Welcome to metal crunching. It's all or nothing for 26 weeks of the year. Welcome to the NASCAR Xfinity Series, only on the CW.
Every time you sit behind the wheel, you buckle up for the unexpected. You get ready to take on the competition, embrace yourself for the chaos, the speed, the weather, the unknown. But above all, when strapping in, you put trust in yourself, your intuition, making your guide to win, your drive to win.
He's a winner in this.
And nothing is going to stop you from winning.
Welcome to Truck Country, where sweat becomes fuel, bumpers become bruisers, and pedals become pedestals. Where a future is written, one lap at a time, and burned into history. Welcome to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
That Audi 5 is close, but not close enough. Tucker, 2 times in 2025, race winner here in Charlotte.
Yo, no, guess who? Coming through, got more than just a little something to prove. Boo-hoo, they're doomed. They don't see me sneaky. I reach the peak and they sleeping swoop. Alley-oop, you've been waiting to start since the drop. Steady, don't be strong, cause you're not ready.
returns to the Music City for a fourth straight season. Tonight, from iRacing's virtual Nashville Superspeedway, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to round 8 of the 2025 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. It is a pivotal moment in this season. We are halfway through 2025, and we are halfway through segment number 2. As always, happy that this is where you're spending your Tuesday night here on the iRacing Esports Network. With Kenneth Bueno, myself, Evan Pasoko, as always, and KB, another exciting one on deck. Tucker Minter joined the multi-race winner club just a week ago in Charlotte. We're starting to run out of opportunities for new race winners to get in on the picture. If you have not shown us something and you're hanging on and you've got something in the back pocket, now is the time to step up to the plate.
Yeah, if you want to stand out in segment 2, you have to do this in a very big hurry between Nashville tonight and Kansas in June. It's 2 straight weeks of intermediate racing. We've had a ton of intermediate tracks across the segment 2 calendar, and that's where we dive deep into segment 3, where it's going to be all about variety and all about keeping consistency up. Nashville's a tough track to drive, a tough venue for many of these teams, so they're going to try and put their best foot forward and not going to break their stride and lose themselves in the moment.
Tucker Minter and Colin Keasty are race winners on the intermediate racetracks already this season. Do those names jump out big here in the next couple of weeks in Nashville and in Kansas? Though this Nashville Superspeedway, one of the newer tracks to the season, one of the most unique, Kenneth, when it comes to the intermediates.
Yeah, this is only one of the 4 races that Nashville has hosted in eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series history. And when I look at this track, I think of it in increments of 10 years. It opened in 2001, closed in 2011, but it reopened with a bang when the Cup Series came here in 2021. 1.33 miles of hard concrete track surface that opened in 2001, like we said. Tucker Minter, who's won 2 of the last 3 races, he picked up the win last time we were here at this very venue. And this track is all about tire degradation and heat that is very contained in the concrete surface. This one should be a tough track to drive, one with only 2 grooves to use in terms of being the fastest around the speedway. That's what drivers are going to have to get used to all night long.
Yeah, Minter the 24 winner, Mullis the 23 winner. Does that mean McCandless has got a shot? And a lot of M's in victory lane here in Nashville. As always, want to invite NASCAR Fan Rewards members to get in on the fun and enter tonight's code NASH, N-A-S-H, 5BW. Put that on your member dashboard. Lock in your 50 points for joining us. And again, we're already at round number 8, but it is never too late to join. If you're not a member yet, scan the QR code on your screen or go to NASCAR.com/fan rewards and join today. Well, we are closing in. At the end of this race, we'll be halfway through the 2025 schedule. Big names rising to the top, getting a bit of a clearer picture with each passing week of what our championship playoffs will look like this season. And we are about set to maybe add another driver to the playoff grid. Qualifying is done. Cars are rolling. Let's go trackside and take a look at your Coca-Cola starting grid for race number 8. At pole position, number 12 on his career and first of the season for the FGRXL eRacing, number 12 of Ryan Luza. He's joined on the front row by the BS competition number 99. That is Garrett Lowe. Row number 2, third place starter tonight to the inside. It's the William Byron Esports 25 at Gottinger. And to the outside, the Travis Pastrana-led effort with the Channel 199 sim racing car of Dylan Duvall. Row number 3, P5 on the grid, the Spire Motorsports 77 of Wilson on the inside in search of race win number 4 this season. He's next to the Apex Racing Team's 98 car of Cody Bias. Row number 4, we'll see the Canon Esports 11 of Vicente Salas next to the second of those Pastrana cars, the Channel 199 number 2 of Novak to the outside in P8. And rounding out your top 10, row number 5, inside row, the BS Competition 89 of Jordy Lopez, and to the outside at FGRXL eRacing to 14, that is Seth the Merchant.
Taylor Hurst for the Tim Dillon Esports Camp. His car number 33 rolls off inside of row number 6. And the Kansas City Pioneers number 24, that's the Coca-Cola machine of Casey Kerwin. Led a ton of laps at Charlotte, crashed late in the race, trying to rebound tonight from Nashville Superspeedway. Malik Ray for the Vegas Inferno team in their first year of eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series competition had a best finish of 4th here in 2023, with Jimmy Mullis for the Kevin Harvick Incorporated camp. Jimmy Mullis, a former winner here back in the same year of 23. Jim Beaver Esports has rookie Nate Stewart on the inside of row 8, and two-time Tucker Minter trying to make it 3 race wins this season for the William Byron Esports camp. His 97 Chevrolet starts in P16. Back on the inside of row number 9, that is Las Vegas winner from 2025. Jim Beaver Esports is Colin Keister, and the ERA Esports team, owned by NASCAR driver Jesse Iwuji, they have Talladega winner Bobby Zelensky on the outside in 18th place. To finalize the two in the top 20 for row number 10, that's E-Racers Tyler Gary on the inside, and rookie for Hayek Motorsports, the 50 car of Quentin Warman.
That brings us halfway home, where you'll find Parker White in the last seed Williams Sim Racing 95, and the second of those Jesse Iwuji cars, the ERA Esports 34 of Michael Cozy Jr. Next row number 12's got a pair of rookies to the inside, the Letard Esports 40 of Connor Urashak, and the Junior Motorsports number 8 of Blake McCandless. Behind them, P25 starter tonight, the Hayek Motorsports 47 of Dylan Alt. He is next to the RFK Racing 17 of Timothy Holmes in P26. P27 on the grid tonight goes to the 6 Karma 19 of Eddie Kerner. To his outside, Austin Dillon's number 3, that's Blaze Crawford. And through your top 30, row number 15, it is the 6 Karma 39 of Daniel Falkenham, and the second at last seed Williams car, the 4 of Donovan Strauss.
Deep start for Spire Motorsports is Femi Olatunbolson, who started or ended up 7th here in 2024. He's 31st with Kevin Harvick Incorporated Matt Busa, number 62 car on the outside in row number 16. Back in row 17 is where you'll find the E-Racer car, the other end of it, Logan Clampett with Junior Motorsports is Brier Lrad, who said he's looking forward to this Nashville race. He's on the outside in 34th place with Letard Esports is Kwame Scott on the inside of row 18 with RFK Racing's Colin Bowden on the outside in 36th place. Tony Kanaan Esports has Alexander Russell. His rookie campaign continues from the inside of row 19 tonight, and Michael Getz for the Vegas Inferno camp lines up his Chevrolet in 48th place. Final 2 on the grid, Christopher Hill for the Apex Racing camp, and Graham Boland taking it deep from 40th on the grid for the Kansas City Pioneers.
It's a look top to bottom at your Coca-Cola starting grid. As always, James Pike going to be joining us on our broadcast, and he is dialed up with your pole sitter, Ryan Luza.
Ryan Luza's first pole of the season for FGRSL E-Racing. Ryan, for all the drivers who say, if I just had track position, tonight you got it. So how does that change your approach to this race?
Just try to keep it, really. I mean, that's all we can do. I'm a little bit worried about having the clean air affecting the balance and making us too loose. I think that's happened to a couple of people in the last couple of races. I think Falkenham was leading early at Charlotte and ended up just falling through the field because it affected his balance so much. So I'm just going to watch the right rear and, hopefully the balance is okay leading, and, we'll just try to stay up here in the top 5 and keep that good track position.
This is a huge opportunity, Kenneth and Evan, for Luza to notch his first top 10 of 2025.
Logitech G race format.
Yeah, we talked about Charlotte last week being the longest race of the season. Well, we're back to usual programming for tonight's race from Nashville. 100 laps at a little over 130 miles with this very hard track surface to drive. We only have 2 tire sets available, which will mean big time if we get a long green flag run. Remember that pit window, 45 to 50 laps you should see on a set of tires, 66 to 70 on a tank of fuel.
Ryan Luza looking for his first Coke Series win in 987 days is on pole. Let's go racing at Nashville. Already fanning 3 wide, just on the tail end of the top 10, but up front Luza clear for the race lead as they head down the back straight.
This whole first lap of it is all going to be about gaining track position. Nashville is a tough track to drive, and with the limited amount of grooves you have available to you, that first and near the yellow line and then that maybe secondary groove at the middle of the apex in the racetrack, that's where you'll see the drivers try to pounce on each other, gain the position early in this run, because once we get into lap 25, lap 30, if we stay green, it's going to become exponentially harder to make a move. There's Malik Ray splitting the middle of 3 wide, Taylor Hurst and Bobby Zelensky inside and outside that fight for 15th, everyone fanning across the back straightaway.
And more 3 wide further back. The 5 was in the middle of Nate Stewart. Now it's the number 8 car of Blake McCandless. He's to the inside of the 34 of Cozy and to the outside of the 15 of Colin Keister. That's a battle for 19th position on back. As these drivers want to get track position, they need to get track position early on and taking advantage of the bunched up start. I mean, look at it behind. The 17 of Timothy Holmes, he'll be right in the center. The 4 car, Donovan Strauss, 3 wide. Also, nobody shy about putting themselves in an uncomfortable position early if it means the chance of making up some spots, maybe even in bulk. The 4 thought about 4 wide. It'll end up 3 as he tries to squeak under the 17 of Holmes. All of this is about 1.9 seconds off of the lead, still head by Luza.
Look at the picks from both Ryan and Jake on Countdown to Green, the 2 Atlassian Williams sim racing cars. Not often do you see Parker White start from deep in the field, but he had to roll off from 21st on the grid with his teammate rolling off in 30th, and now here they are trying to scrap for track position. For everything that it's worth here, White has the most podiums of anyone in the series so far, and that's without a race win. His teammate Strauss trying to recover on what's been so far a rocky 2025. There's a look on board from the 6 Karma Ford Mustang. Eddie Kerner trying to find his way through, and the 3 wide doesn't stop here, Evan. I'd say past lap 10 to 15 is where we should see that quick packed action dissipate a little bit, but for right now, everyone's trying their best. Look at the near contact up the road. Timothy Holmes trying to be on the bottom of 3 abreast with Donovan Strauss and Blaze Crawford, but they settled it out nicely.
Yeah, and up front you can see they're settling things out much quicker than the midfield. Lose a 4/10 of a second advantage over Ottinger, who was able to make a pass up to the number 2 spot. Much of that to the detriment of the number 99 Chevrolet right there of Garrett Lowe. He started up on the front row in the number 2 spot. He has slid early back into the number 5 position, so moving the wrong way early. Could be attributed to the start on maybe the outside lane. Both Ottinger and Wilson started on the bottom of rows 2 and 3. They used that to jumpstart their charge to the front as this lead now starts to settle in just a little bit. You mentioned this is back to business as usual compared to a long night in Charlotte just a week ago. This race here in Nashville, 110 miles shorter than what we saw just 7 days ago. So it is going to need to be urgency from all of these drivers.
It's also one of the shortest races of this segment. We mentioned how segment 2 is only 4 races long compared to 1 and 3 that'll be 5 races long. So not only is there a little more urgency for the guys in the point standings to go out for the cash and the extra playoff points that will matter come later this year, but you're dealing with dash of races. We had a couple of weeks where we had pretty long outings from both Rockingham and Charlotte last week to back to 133 miles, which is even less time and less distance than what we'll see the following race at Kansas Speedway at another 1.5 miles, an intermediate track. So this one is all going to be about putting yourself out front early. And with a track, like we said, as hard to pass as Nashville is, you have to make yourself known in the spotlight as quickly as possible. And that's what we've seen from a bulk of the guys in the mid-pack that are still trying to decide where they're going to settle out at the beginning of this green flag run.
Entering this picture now, also Casey Kerwin, the number 24 Coca-Cola colors on that KCP Chevrolet for the Kansas City Pioneers tonight. Casey up 5 positions early. He is the biggest mover inside of your top 20 cars or so. So he is getting to positions early and positions that matter. He'd be the next one up to try to challenge Lowe. After that pass from Salas, Lowe is now down 4 positions total. Let's jump back and take a look at the number 5 of Nate Stewart. Started this race in 15th position. He is top 15 no longer, and because of that there, 3 wide behind him, looked like the 4 car driving it into the inside. Strauss gets into the left rear. That's a fantastic save for Nate Stewart to keep that thing on the racetrack, but it cost him a lot of time. Kenneth, he's way back now in P32.
That's the problem when you're only 10 laps in. Everyone's on top of each other, and Strauss was just trying to get down on it, but it put some grease on the track where Nate Stewart was, slipped up the banking, and all of a sudden that's more than 8 positions, probably a ton of those lost off the corner in just a couple of seconds time. So it's really quick in how far you can fall off through the mid-pack just because everyone's so aggressive and trying to make their moves. Just now is where everyone's single filing out, but even then, gap from first all the way to P10 is a mere 1.6 seconds, so nobody has really been able to fully separate other than Luza and then the second place car of Nick Ottinger, that at 0.4 of a second and 4 car lengths. So tough for Nate Stewart there, who's had a pretty rough opening campaign to his Coke Series career, back in 32nd now, but a lot of time, at least in this run, to recover, and a ton of cars in front.
And even Nick Ottinger up in the number 2 spot, one of the most veteran drivers in this series, has not had the start to 2025 that he has wanted. That Logitech G Chevrolet team for William Byron Esports hoping to maintain this track position and turn things into a good afternoon for them, because again, we're getting to the point in the season where it's going to start to be too late to turn things around. Nick comes into tonight way back 34th in the points. He has got some work to do. Well, somebody else with some work to do is Blaze Crawford, center of the field and in all the action. Let's ride on board with him. It's the Hardee's Coca-Cola onboard camera. Side there for the 3 of Crawford. Crawford makes the move on the outside, and now next man up, the number 50, Quinton Warman. So Crawford already up 9 positions to start this race. He got a top 10 in the last comparable racetrack. Good result for him back in Las Vegas. Didn't quite get the result he wanted in Charlotte, but he knows he has speed on these intermediate tracks. He wants some more. Jumping back up to the battle for the number 12 spot. Seth the Merchants there. Tucker Minter, your race winner from 7 days ago, also there in 13.
Yeah, a lot of these guys just trying to put themselves in the right position, and usually often we see these guys together, of course, with Zelensky and company at the front. Tucker Minter was kind of around this place last week, if you remember, Evan, at Charlotte, where he was just kind of hanging around in the curtains, but finally when the strategy kicked in, that's where he started to find his rhythm, and the car just came to life on the fresh tires through the overcut. So Minter probably eyeing down the same bit of strategy, although it's a much shorter race, but he's kept himself nicely in the top 15. And so has Seth the Merchant, a driver who could very well turn around his season off the backbone of that Charlotte top 3 finish, in which his season basically became one that could be of saving after he got a top 10 and got the best finish of his 2025 season so far, making the duck underneath off turn 4 to Jody Lopez, who I think, Evan, got a bit of front nose damage, as kind of a dent on the Chevrolet for BS Plus competition, so got to know how much that'll affect his downforce as we come through the rest of this race.
Yeah, that car's got some noticeable damage on the front of the race car. He has slipped back a little bit from the start, now minus 3 positions from where he started. So curious if that is because of the damage. How about the 6 Karma teammates? Daniel Falkenham at the number 23 spot on the racetrack right now, and his teammate Eddie Carter just behind him in the number 25 spot. Daniel Falkenham, one of a couple of drivers who are not in familiar places this afternoon. Falkenham racing for Matthew Zawak's house in Michigan on his way home for the Indy 500. Zawak, of course, a top-level contender, finished 11th in the Contender Series, so that rig is known to produce some good results, and Falkenham, I'm sure, appreciative of the offer to be competing there before he gets back home from that trip. Jumping back up inside of the top 10, Casey Kerwin still in the number 7 spot. Cody Bias quietly dropped down 2. We'll see if Bias is able to make up some ground. 1.6 seconds, the gap between the cars here in 7th and 8th, and the leaders up front. Luza still holding a 0.4 of a second advantage. Wilson up to P2, though. The Spire 77 is on the charge. Already a race winner this year in Darlington, or Daytona, I should say, Interlagos, Richmond. Can he go for a number 4 in 8 attempts? Well, Wilson may be just one of the best cars on track right now, pulling away from this battle just behind us.
Yeah, something about Wilson is that he's going to be hungry no matter what. Doesn't matter how many race wins he's picked up in a season, he'll still be hungry to get more. There's Cody Bias, one of the 2 drivers a part of the Apex Racing team for 2025. That's a brand new team, by the way, to the Coke Series this year. A very familiar name on the iRacing scene. They're a very big road racing camp from the Porsche Esports Super Cup and a lot of other road racing leagues, but their first foray into oval racing full-time with eNASCAR. There's Cody Bias, and how about at the back? 39th place, Christopher Hill. So far, a slow start over lap 23, but Hill had a lot to celebrate with over the last weekend or so. He won the top split broadcast of the iRacing Coca-Cola 600, which, Evan, you were on the call for. It was a close race off of turn 4 to the finish line, and Hill probably had a lot to celebrate with, and trying to lock in right now, sitting behind Colin Bowden. That's a battle for 38th on the racetrack.
And if one wasn't impressive enough, I think he got 2 top split wins over the course of the weekend. That one with the photo finish with Zach Novak was a lot of fun here on the iRacing Esports Network. First time checking in with the number 1, Malik Ray, the Vegas Inferno Chevy, down on the inside of the 89 of Jordy Lopez, who was down 7 spots from the jump, so some work to do for him. And last time we rode on board with Blaze Crawford, he was picking his way through the field. Well, he wants to get up to Quentin Warman, who you're on board with now. Warman, the highest runner of your 8 rookies in the field right now. He rides in 15th position, but there is a lot of hungry competitors all over the bumper. And Malik Ray, not somebody who's known to give you a break if you leave the door open.
And the man in the middle of all that, trying to let the main pack of cars by, is Jordy Lopez with that front-end nose damage. He's telling the other drivers around him, just go by. I'm going to work on my race car and figure out what I'm going to do to kind of level this thing and maybe nurse it all the way to potentially the first caution of the race or first stop of the race at possibly halfway. So he's hemorrhaging a lot of spots, and Malik Ray and company just trying to pounce on that a little bit. How about the good battle inside the top 20? This is just behind the VS Plus competition machine of Lopez, side by side, 2 rows deep. Blake McCandless, that bright yellow and red C4 Energy car on the outside. Michael Cozy Jr., who picked up a podium at Las Vegas, one of our intermediate tracks to start off the 2025 season. And how about Parker White, Timothy Holmes all the way back there? These are guys just trying to find themselves in the middle. You know, you got a pair of guys on the outside that have had a slow start to 2025, 2 guys on the inside that have had much better placements, and they're probably going to be in the playoffs come later on this season. But right now, hard scrapping fight for 19th at the moment. May even see 3 wide. There's 6 Karma in the background. Eddie Kerner and Daniel Falkingham trying to make a move up front.
It's some action-packed stuff, and just to add a note on the Jordy Lopez story, I wound back the tape and took a look. That damage to the nose of the car came on the initial start. Coming to the green flag is where he got the front-end damage on the 89. Since then, that car has lost 10 positions, and it continues to lose more. So it seems pretty clear. You see the front end kicked right in on the nose of that Chevrolet. Just got into the back of the car in front of him, coming to the green. There was a little checkup on the inside line. And front-end damage may be the worst spot on these race cars to get damage. It's going to hurt the car aerodynamically. There are some other concerns that could happen if the front-end damage is worse in terms of some temperatures. Not sure if that's a factor, but definitely hurting him on speed. And it has allowed guys like Malik Ray and others to make these passes and get on through. Malik still chasing Warman. That would be a battle for 15th and 16th position. And behind them, Blaze Crawford, and we've touched on him a couple times. He's up 11 spots. Femi Olajimbosin, the next car in line, up 13. So there is a lot of movement on this part of the racetrack. As on the inside of turn 1, Malik Ray makes the swinging dive under Warman and takes another spot back.
It almost seemed like there that high motorsports entry of Quentin Warman just kind of let him by, gave him the inside and said, all right, well, if you're the faster car right now, I'm not going to put you on that much of a resistance battle to get me through to the other position here in 15th. So we'll see how that shakes out. But for the most part, everyone's chasing the bottom. That's where you want to be here at Nashville Superspeedway. And the middle is just starting to gain grip over these first 30 laps. And that's where Steven Wilson is starting to find ground. First proper battle for the lead since the drop of the green flag. Wilson poking to the inside of turn 3. Luza won't play as much defense. Steven Wilson, our first lead change of the race at lap number 30. And here's a look at the back at how it all unfolded. It was Colin Keister, I think, that got a tap off of the corner. And this was looking middle 3, and that is Daniel Falkingham right into the outside wall. Not the way he wanted this one to go, Evan, and he's still hitting the wall with all of that suspension damage. Remember, the big-time fall-off on tires in the early portions of the Charlotte race. Didn't pick up damage there until basically the very end when everything became chaotic. But for Falkingham, 2 rough weeks, and he's on pit road now.
And Falkingham, yeah, he just hit the fence again in turn number 4 and limped it down to pit road. By the way, this is not a replay of the start of the race. This is live pictures of more 3 wide, and that's the 15. Colin Keister, bit of a bowling ball that time into 3. Trouble behind. There goes the 33. Taylor Hurst, he hangs on. Got into the 21 of Michael Guest. Those 2 cars straightened each other out, and somehow they don't even get out of the throttle, and they keep on going.
And by the way, that was 4 wide. There was a car in the grass. It was the Ledford Billiard Supply Chevrolet of Brier Lrad. Saw the trouble looming in front of him, and he went down to the grass. And although he got a skip or 2, he was able to survive scot-free. Great move by Lrad, and a great save as well by Taylor Hurst and company to keep themselves out of our first potential caution of the race. Again, this is all the scrappy fighting for mid-pack position. This is beneath the top 25, so this is just trying to place yourself in a good area by the time pit stops come around, assuming they will be under the green flag. And I think Colin Keister had been kind of bullied a little bit over the last 10 to 15 laps. He got tapped into turn 3 a little while ago, had to save the car, and here's another look at how it all unfolded. 3 wide, barely, Keister through the middle. It's going to be minimal contact between Michael Guest, that gold and white Chevy on the top, with Tyler Gary, and there's Brier Lrad, by the way, skipping to the grass, 4 wide, able to make the move.
Quite as smooth as the turf was at Charlotte a week ago, but fortunate that he's able to get back out of the grass and make the corner without issue. Alexander Russell in the number 66. That's the Micro Center Toyota, top of the screen there. A little bit slow on the exit of the corner that time. Lost a touch of speed, and Brier Lrad and Michael Guest doing battle behind him, trying to get up and into the conversation. Couple of spots up the road. That's the 6 of Colin Bowden, trying to get underneath the number 36 of Kwame Scott. In a battle for 32nd and 33rd. All kinds of action going on in the midfield, but this is already nearly 8 seconds behind the leaders, only 35 laps into this run. So all of this hard racing hurting these cars on lap time as this field starts to stretch out. You wouldn't know it by these pictures, though. This is all outside of the top 25, but they continue to be aggressive. Tyler Gary found something on the bottom there, and the 5 smacks the fence a little bit. Bad exit for Nate Stewart.
Extremely close racing here in the mid-pack and beneath the top 25, but there seem to be 3 distinct groups, maybe 4 distinct groups in this race right now. You got these guys at the back still continuing the battle, nearly 3 wide. That's Nate Stewart right there for Jim Beaver Esports, and then the cars behind of Colin Bowden and Kwame Scott all the way around there for 31st on the racetrack. And then there seems to be about a 2 to 3 car breakaway from 17th, 18th, and 19th to where Crawford, Olatunbosin, and Jordi Lopez sit. And then there's another little while before you get up to 16th place Donovan Strauss, then Warman, then Malik Ray, and then the rest of the pack going all the way up to the race leader.
So it was pole sitter Ryan Luza who led the opening 29 laps of this race, but 7 laps ago, Steven Wilson took to the number 1 spot, and it is the GGT Chevrolet pacing the field at the moment. His advantage is not pulling away from Ryan Luza. Luza keeping him honest. That car in second place is only about 2 car lengths off of the back bumper. Steven Wilson, by far and large, has been the dominant car on the year thus far, a 3-time race winner. However, Tucker Minter, courtesy of his second win of the season a week ago in Charlotte, currently leads the series points. More 3 wide back in traffic, and a big moment there. Again, it was Alexander Russell. Just a few laps ago, turn 2, he struggled. They were 4 wide in front of him. McCandless got loosened up. Russell had to get out of the gas. It's going to cost him more positions in bulk, as these cars back in the 20s just will not stop fighting tooth and nail.
They are running wild right now in the back of this pack, Evan. It's becoming pandemonium around this group, and still none of them have been able to find a way in front of each other by a far margin. So for right now, they're still not quite escaping each other. And how about the battle inside the top 6? There's Tucker Minter, rather the top 8 for the inside of the Channel 199 Toyota Camry of Zach Novak. Finally, we mentioned Tucker Minter stepping into the top 10. Before that, top 15 run that he had been building at the first run of this race, finding some speed on the inside, and so far everyone chasing Wilson, who after 18th in Rockingham, we thought things could maybe taper off for the Iowa native, but since he has stepped back on the gas pedal, a top 10 streak that leads up to tonight, finished 9th at Charlotte, with being up front with a chance to win in those final few laps under strategy, now trying to retake control of this series with Ryan Luza chasing him down.
There's the onboard look with the car that sits in the number 2 spot as Ryan Luza does not want to let Steven Wilson get away. And yes, track position is important. No complaints from the Luza camp for starting this race on a pole, Kenneth, but I find it interesting that of the 7 races that have happened so far this year, none of them have been won by the driver who started on pole. So there has been an element of comers and goers, strategy over the long runs, or strategy on late race restarts that have prevented those cars from starting up front and also finishing up front. Also, only 2 of the 7 races this year have seen the car who led the most laps in the race win it in the end. So it has been all Luza and now all Wilson thus far. The numbers would say, and it is not quite so simple. We still have a long way to go here in Nashville, just ducking under 60 laps to go, and still a complete cycle of pit stops away from us getting to the end of the race. None of these drivers going to make it without a trip down to pit road. Closing in on halfway home in Nashville, you're watching round number 8 of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Every time you sit behind the wheel, you buckle up for the unexpected. You get ready to take on the competition and brace yourself for the chaos, the speed, the weather, the unknown. But above all, when strapping in, you put trust in yourself, your intuition. Make it your guide to win, your drive to win.
He's a winner in this.
And nothing is going to stop you from winning.
Welcome to more new ways to watch. A 5-race stretch only on Prime. More bright lights, more Nashville nights, more Motor City speed, more passion unleashed, more history made, more precision displayed, more moments you can't miss. And for the first time, only on Prime. Welcome to NASCAR.
This portion of the broadcast is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR. Logitech G. Through design, engineering, and a love of driving games, Logitech G takes racing simulation to another level. Logitech G, the official wheel and pedals of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. And by Sunoco. From fueling your favorite NASCAR teams to filling up at the pump, Sunoco is trusted to help vehicles perform at their peak. Sunoco. Performance is what we do.
Live at Nashville Superspeedway, where the battle for the race lead swings back in favor of Ryan Luza. A pass on the inside of Wilson about a lap and a half ago puts the number 12 Toyota back in front as the radios start to light up. Closing in on halfway home, Kenneth, and it sounds like pit stops imminent. With the first car right on cue on pit road, it's Michael Cozy Jr.
If he had been in the mid-pack as soon as this strategy portion of the race came through to lap 50, this is where everyone's going to start to come in. You know, lap 50 to 55, we noted that pit road fuel window, which is about that mark. These tires can go a little bit longer than that, but of course you would rather take the chance of coming down pit road because of those tires. They're going to be screaming for grip, and right now is where we're seeing the biggest amount of movement through the field between Wilson and Luza. And how about the battle for fourth place? Tucker Minter diving to the inside of Casey Kerwin, made it work, and he had been trying to methodically work his way past Kerwin and Novak, who had been battling a little bit alongside Garrett Lowe for position inside the top 6, but they're making their way through, and this is the sweet spot of the tire run where if you have that setup perfectly placed in, this car is going to rotate nicely through the corner. Again, 45 to 50 laps. That was the estimated pit window. It seems like everyone's going much longer than that. Second car down pit road, that's E-Racers Logan Clement.
Yeah, so 2 drivers in. You saw the disparity there, almost a 20-lap difference between how far you can go on fuel and how far you want to go on the tires. With 50 laps down, 50 laps to go, seems like just as good of a time as any for these drivers to start making their way in. Your leaders, though, pass by the pit road entry once more. You wonder for a Tucker Minter, right? Charging through the field, 1.5 seconds back. What strategy call can you make on this cycle to gain some of the 1.5 second gap that you're dealing with right now? Parker White, Eddie Kerner, the next 2 drivers to head to pit road. Everybody that comes in looking for 4 tires and fuel as they slow down to a brisk pit road speed here at the Nashville Superspeedway. These cars capped once they get down there, 45 miles an hour. You obviously do not want to get a self-inflicted error on a green flag cycle. The pit stops, do not speed in, don't speed out. Make sure that your in and out laps are good also. Surprised, though, that these leaders continue to go out there. I feel like the cars we've seen, all from the midfield. Kwame Scott's in, Dylan Alt, Tyler Gary, Nate Stewart. Again, all from the midfield. Who is the first top 10 car? Who's the first car in contention to win this race to make that call?
It might be any one of these guys from Kerwin on back. I mean, Kerwin's starting to fall off a little bit on tires. Not that he can make his move down pit road now because Garrett Lowe is there, but here comes Lowe in regardless. Tucker Minter makes his way on a pit road. Quick slide to the cone and the pit road speed limit. Thankfully, I don't believe any of them got any black flags on their way in, so they make pit road speed without any problems. I was anticipating, Evan, that, you know, it would be the ideology for Minter of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Go on the overcut like you did at Rockingham and Charlotte. Make use of the fresh tires alongside that very good long run pace that we're seeing out of the William Byron Esports Chevrolet, and then push up to the front. Here comes Wilson back from second, letting Luza take control. Behind him, Vicente Salas, Casey Kerwin, and a bunch of other drivers come in. That's Nick Ottinger, the other end of the William Byron Esports cars. So I'm a little surprised to see Minter not overstay a little bit compared to the rest of the main pack, but seems to be that approach to go for fresh tires a little bit early in this dash with 46 laps to go.
Any more cars in? It includes Alexander Russell down on the pit lane. Donovan Strauss also down and in. These drivers run at about 1.5 seconds slower on the old tires than they were when they were fresh. So will you pay the price to pit a little bit later? Luza now comes in. He'll give up the number 1 position. Zach Novak follows him down. That will hand the race lead off to the number 22 Chevrolet. Bobby Zelensky cycles through to the lead. Bolin, Olatibosen, Holmes, Hill, Busa. More drivers down pit road for service. This time is Jordi Lopez spend any extra time in the box trying to get the front of that race car fixed. It has hurt him immensely since he got that damage on the drop of the green flag. 45 laps to go, still waiting on your top 10 cars to come down pit road. Here's another batch of them led by Zelensky.
This is going to be where the rest of the field cycles through. Malik Ray will take over the race lead, and it's going to be curious to see where these fresh tire cars end up, because Wilson already was able to jump over Tucker Minter despite the fact that Minter had came in the lap before or so. So already there's a pretty decent gap, and they're trying to cut their way through some of that lap traffic. And this is where you need to make the most of the run when these cars are fresh, when this track is able to absorb the fresh rubber on the Goodyear Eagles. And there's Malik Ray taking a hop on the brakes. He's in on pit road, controlled slide all the way through 3 and 4, but he's able to make it work. Colin Bowden will try and stay out for the lead, but at this point, you got to be really thinking, if you're staying out this long, Evan, when is that threshold that you don't want to cross over? Because this track is so hot at about 131 degrees Fahrenheit. You don't want to maybe stay past 60 to 65 laps, and that threshold starts to break. and then all of a sudden, whatever is gained on track position ends up being lost with the amount of time you bleed from a car that is almost undrivable, given how long of a run we've had and how rough this track surface temperature is. And I think that's the case here for a lot of these guys who are kind of overstaying their welcome a little bit. Colin Bowden coming in, Taylor Hurst will stay out the extra lap, and that's where the fresh tire cars come in to the top 5. Casey Kerwin has the advantage. Pretty decent call with Wilson on his tail.
Yeah, still waiting on the top 3 cars to pit. Hurst, Lrad, and McCandless, the only drivers who have yet to come down pit road. But here's a good look as your leader is unlapped by that number 14 set. The Merchant unlapped himself. Fresh tires versus old tires. It's great, though, because there is not clearly one strategy that's better, right? Tucker Minter was able to use the overcut a week ago, use the opportunity to pit a little bit later, have fresh tires later, and despite giving up time through the pit cycle, that tire advantage on the long run play dividends here tonight. He wanted to pit a little bit earlier, get on the quicker tires sooner, try to get some track position, but has to play a little bit of defense on the backside. Big swingy move as Quinton Warman gets around Hurst. If he really wants to, he could get about another 10 laps of fuel out of this run. That is at an absolute maximum. But again, this is already 10 laps beyond what most of the drivers in the field opted to go for. Lrad, McCandless, they are also both staying out. It'd be no surprise that these drivers from back in the midfield clearly wanting to push long, maybe try to catch a fortunate timed yellow, because I think once you're this committed to this strategy here, Kenneth, you're not really going to come down pit road and expect to cycle back through. I think you're hoping for a bit of luck on your side.
And the thing is, with a shorter race here at only 100 laps, you put this strategy forward, you have to deal with it no matter what. You really can't get out and have a get-out-of-jail-free card, if you will, like you could, maybe at Charlotte or Rockingham, where the strategies differed, and with a longer race, you can try and shake things up and make different moves and adjust on the fly. Here are 39 laps left in an overall green flag race. You kind of have to settle on where you're at, whether you like it or not, and think of the 3 different strategies that we've seen from the top 3 leaders right now. In Taylor Hurst staying out, he had a pretty decent start, his best start of the year, rolling off from 11th. He hasn't had a solid run for 2025, a top 10 not in his bag right now. And then Brier Lrad, Blake McCandless, a pair of Junior Motorsports teammates, they've also struggled quite a bit in the point standings, and they started further back in the field. So they were part of the huge melee between 2, 3, and nearly 4 wide action that was happening beneath the top 25. So this is the strategy they need in order to make up track position, and they desperately hope that a yellow flag can come out, because it's 18.5 seconds. That gap is only going to continue to crunch down.
And a big pass for 4th on the racetrack, but what will become the net race lead. Steven Wilson has passed the number 24 of Casey Kerwin. Casey Kerwin, I think, was the only driver to come down pit road and take 2 tires only. Michael Guest may have also done that. He's back in 35th, but Casey went for the 2, took 4 seconds out of his pit stop. That's what allowed him to become the net leader as he cycled back out quicker than anybody else, but pretty clear that 4 tires going to be the better decision. Steven Wilson's got a fast race car, and he was able to catch it to pass that 24 without incident. I may be a little bit surprised, KB, that call comes from a guy who was running 4th anyways. I mean, you might see that out of a car in 20th, right? Try to steal a couple of spots and go for it, but Casey was already in a good spot. This may not net him the win if this cycle's green. The question is now, will he end up cycling further back than P4 with where he was? Seems like an interesting gamble for a top 5 race car.
Well, if anything, Evan, it demonstrates that track position is so important here at Nashville Superspeedway. A fundamental difference to last week's race at Charlotte and what we'll see the following week at Kansas Speedway, where a lot of that will come down to 4 tires, probably overcut strategies that work in a 100-lap race. But with a shorter distance tonight and a track that has been very tough to pass at, we've seen that inside car struggle on rotation when a guy's on the outside because they just pinch the interior car down and they just can't pop on the gas pedal without killing the right front tire over the course of a long run. So, and maybe I'm a little surprised to see 2 from Kerwin, but maybe not surprised to see that strategy pointed out here, especially from Kerwin, a guy who's hungry for a win in 2025 and a guy that had the win basically ripped out of his fingers at Charlotte last week.
I remember we talked about it, the fact that Taylor Hurst, Brier Lrad, and Blake McCandless clearly going for the fuel number instead of the tire number. They could go maybe another 4 or 5 laps at the absolute maximum in this race that has gone green from the jump. They have had no opportunities under the yellow to save tires and save fuel. So they are running maybe some fuel saving on the racetrack, but again, they really need a caution flag in the next 3 laps, because the benefit to that would be everybody else has already been out there on their new tires for 10, 15 laps. They may feel inclined to come back in and get more tires anyways. You're going to be having to pit no matter what. That is the strategy call that these top 3 drivers are hoping could fall in their favor and try to get them a surprise opportunity at being a race winner in this one. Back in the battle for the net lead, Tucker Minter in P5 now, having passed Casey Kerwin. That number 5 spot, if this cycles through, will become the number 2 spot. So Tucker Minter continues his march to the field. What a drive it could be. Could he possibly drive from P16 to win this thing? I mentioned he was 1.4 seconds off of the leader before the pit cycle. He's only 0.6 of a second off of Steven Wilson now, so things are looking great on the lap times for the 97 team.
And the credit goes to the long run setup on his Chevrolet tonight, and that's part of what helped him out in the late stages of that Charlotte race right before overtime kicked in. And it's going to be fun to see the wrangle for the net 1 position between Wilson and Minter, because think back to that race only a week ago. Wilson had struggled on the long run pace. Past 30 to 35 laps, Wilson started really hemorrhaging time, and that's what allowed Minter to grab the extra rotation, coupled with that tire strategy that helped him move to the front. Does Wilson learn from that, or does he fall to the same mistake as he did at the intermediate track just one Tuesday ago? And here's the battle inside the top 10 that doesn't seem to be continuing to let up. That's Nick Ottinger right in the middle, actually in the top 12, but they're just on the outskirts of the top 10 with Dylan Duval right in front. Logan Clampett having a great race for the E-Racer camp in the top 15. And then Bobby Zelensky, who had a shot at the race lead, led a couple of laps here over strategy. Him and Zach Novak, who had decent top 10 running cars, are trying to get through, and maybe 3 wide here off turn 4. Ottinger, the big block down the straightaway. You can use the apron down there under the yellow line. Now they're 3 wide to turn 1.
Ottinger hoping the best defense is a good offense. He's the instigator of the 3 wide. It puts Clampett in the middle. The 22 is Zelensky. Going to have the run along the outside line. Zelensky's got way better tires than Clampett in that battle. It's a skew in favor of the 22. He takes that spot away. And now Zach Novak in the number 2 car. To the inside is to pit road with a big slide to the cone. That is Blake McCandless down pit road. He avoids the penalty. He got it down to 45 miles an hour in time. And I would suspect if he is in, we should see Taylor Hurst and Brier Lrad from P1 and 2 down pit road any minute now. Taylor Hurst is coming down pit road as we come to the end of lap number 72. Brier Lrad, though, thinks he's got one more in that Ledford Billiard Supply Chevrolet for Jeter Motorsports. He gets his first lap lead of the day.
Any time you can spend at the front, Evan, is time worth spending. And I think for Lrad's season so far, and one that he really hasn't been able to find his groove with only a best finish of 26th this season. That came in the season opener at Daytona. Why not? Hope for a yellow flag. Hope that this merging between the old and new tire cars in the middle of the field will cause some sort of chaos and bring out a yellow that would help Lrad, as everyone, I think, is in a deep enough run where with 28 to go, they probably would take another set of tires, whether it be just 2 or 4. It really just depends.
It really does, and several other battles going on the racetrack. This group right here for 4th out of back will become a battle for a spot in the top 3 once Lrad cycles to the pit lane. Ryan Luza, who started this race on a pole, he's led more laps than anybody else, but this pit cycle has not worked in his favor. He pitted later than most of the cars around him, so he did lose track position to them because they went down and got on the fresh air tires sooner. You see Lrad is in this time, so Luza should have a tire advantage late in this. But with Lrad down and in, every single car has officially completed the pit cycle. The hope for the caution flag strategy by those late 3 pitters does not play out, and now the battle for the race lead is on our hands. Steven Wilson started 5th. He's led 18 laps thus far, but Tucker Minter started 16th, and under green has driven his way through the field, and now it's a car length, maybe less. Battle for the race lead is on. 25 laps to go.
And the one thing that stood out in the long green flag run, to kick off this race was the way Minter was able to hold out on the bottom. Everyone else migrated to that half a lane, maybe full lane up the racetrack of the 14 degrees of banking. Minter decided to stay down there, and off the top end of the speedway is where he gets a wonderful run off of turn 2, dive to the inside of turn 3. Wilson's backing up the corner to get the switch back on the bottom. He'll make the contact with the 97 car, though, move up the racetrack off turn 4, battle for the lead with 24 to go.
In a big moment there, the 77 had the run, but the quarter panel touch to the 97 kept him a little bit closer. Still door-to-door. Faster car, Brier Lrad on new tires. Gonna go by on the inside line, but on the exit at turn number 2, clear for the race lead. First time tonight, it is Tucker Minter in control of the field. These two cars representing 5 of the 7 race wins so far this season, and they are going head-to-head. Tucker Minter, in fact, has the slightly older tires, but with that pass, you wouldn't have thought so.
And with the long run speed he has, he was trusting in this car to be as fast as it is over the long run. But mind you, they're not the only 2 cars in this frame. Look at the 3rd car in line, that Toyota for Tony Kanaan Esports. That's Vicente Salas, who so far this season has had some bright spots, but hasn't been able to put that final puzzle piece together for a race victory. His best finish was 3rd all the way at the road course at Interlagos, and ever since Richmond, he has not captured a top 10 in this field or in 2025. His last 2 races have been at least 30th or worse between Talladega and then Charlotte last week. So this is a guy that may be hungrier than the top 2 who have shared a bulk of the wins this season. Salas has the pace, and he's on the same tire set as Steven Wilson with a lot of running to go.
Salas critically 16th in points, and win would be huge for him. We talk about some of the trends here in Nashville. Well, every race has had a different pole sitter. That trend continued this year. Lrad, Ottinger, Zelensky, and now Luza, the driver who started up front, but it has not been a place you've wanted to win at for all of those drivers. That was the only race win in which they won the entire season. Well, if either Minter first or Wilson in second win, that would snap the trend. And some pretty good picks for the likes of Camille and Allen. They picked the 97. He is out in front as they run right now. Parker White, the pick on behalf of Ryan for Jake, back in 19th position. It's been a bit of a quiet one for the Atlassian Williams Sim Racing team car as he is back in the midfield. These lap drivers, though, may be interesting, Kenneth. Blake McCandless, the next one up, fresh tire, trying to get through.
Yeah, McCandless is going to play a big role in this, just like the other Junior Motorsports car did. And remember the pick from Jake Sperry, it wasn't an official pick because Ryan Vargas is going to get the points for his pick in the attempt to catch up to Alan Cavana right now. But his pick was Donovan Strauss, and I noted his quick progression early in this race. He rolled off 30th, and he's up to 11th. It has been a rummage through the field for Strauss so far in this event. He's had a very fast Chevrolet, one that we haven't seen as much from defending champion Parker White, who struggled a little bit over the course of the strategy, but Strauss has done really well, so credit to Jake Sperry. I think he had an eye there, picking the other end of the Atlassian Williams Sim Racing Group. Strauss trying to capture what would be his first top 10 of the year.
The good pick. He is the second biggest mover in this race, up those 19 positions, bested only by the 24 positions gained for Graham Bolin, who started back at 40th and runs in 16th at the moment. But Ryan Luza, mentioned on the battle for the net lead when we were still waiting for this pit cycle to round itself out, that Luza had lost some time. Well, that's because he was one of the latest cars to come down pit road. Zelensky, the latest of all the cars in the top 10 to pit. He'll have the better tires, but Ryan Luza has 1 lap better tires than Wilson and Salas in front of him, and 2 lap better tires than Tucker Minter up front. Are those razor-thin margins enough for that man right there to make up the 0.8 of a second that you're looking at?
Just wanted to correct myself a little bit. 4th top 10 finish on the line for Donovan Strauss if he's able to creep up. But I like this place for Ryan Luza here. He's kind of keeping a keen eye here on the top 3, and I'd imagine that Luza's kind of thinking maybe this will be a Charlotte scenario all over again, to where he's got the car in the back, he waits for the top 3 to play it really aggressively, especially with the lap traffic that just came through or where they lost some time, and that's where Luza can really pounce like Minter did last week.
Battles all over the racetrack. It includes the battle for the win, but also back there in 14th position. Quinton Warman trying to stay ahead of a side-by-side fight that sees Graham Bolin on the outside, Cody Bias on the inside. Those two cars could not have started further apart. Bolin started 40th, Bias started 6th. They find themselves together in the mid-teens, and you see the live segment 2 points on the right-hand side of your screen. After this, only one race left in the segment before we crown the segment 2 champ. Of course, that pays critical playoff points that you'll carry into the postseason, as well as $3,000, which is always nice on top also. Here comes Vicente Salas now, trying to get to the inside of Wilson. Could not make it stick in 2.
But he's looking higher on the racetrack. He's attempting that crossover here. We've seen that happen a lot of times here at Nashville because rotation is hard to come by with 15 laps to go, and with these guys way over 30 laps on their set of Goodyear Eagles. That's what you want. You want to back it up in turn 1, make the higher arc, and then dart down low, and that's what gets Salas the run out of turn 4. He dives underneath for the lunge in turn 1, and that's where Wilson can back up and do the exact same thing. But I don't think he wants to fight too harshly because he can see that blue and black FGR Excel Toyota in the background of Ryan Luza. Wilson does not want this to be Charlotte all over again in a deja vu and have himself fall through the cracks, but they are letting Tucker Minter run away with this thing. 0.3 of a second back to Salas. So whatever happened there between those two, it's costing them a lot, and Minter is starting to catch ground and pull away here.
Yeah, it really looked like Steven Wilson gave that spot to Salas or had a big mistake. He was very visible on the camera with some gestures, but it almost looked like he let the 11 go, hoping that maybe Salas would get up there, fight with Tucker, and kind of slow each other down. But you're right. I mean, he's very acutely aware of the fact that Ryan Luza behind them in 4th position is closing in. But now that Salas has got a pocket of clean air to work with, what will the Miramar Financial Group Toyota for Tony Kanan Esports do with it? Last time by, Salas with a 31.758. Tucker Minter up front with a 6.94, so not making up any ground with those splits. In fact, the 97 added to his lead slightly.
And there were only 2 cars who were faster than Minter the last time in the top 5. That was both Luza and Bobby Zelensky running 4th and 5th. So they are gaining a lot of ground now that they kind of have some more elbow room between themselves and other drivers either ahead or behind them. Specifically Zelensky, now that he's kind of in a little bit of a bubble all by himself. And remember that 2-tire call from Casey Kerwin to get himself some track position? Yeah, didn't really pan out for him. He's back to 12th. The Merchant, Malik Ray and company getting around, and now here's where Luza can pounce. He may follow Steven Wilson to the inside of the racetrack. He'll stay up high for right now, but this is exactly what Luza needs if he wants to step into his first top 3 finish of the year. Battle for second out of turn 2, tight as always, scraping the outside wall, giving a bit of a kiss. Luza going to be chasing back to turn 1, right behind Salas' rear view bumper, while Minter says, good luck, I'll pull away with 10 laps to go.
And all of this is a beautiful sight for Tucker Minter to see in the rear view mirror because he is pulling away up front. Gutsy pass on the outside. Luza gets around Wilson, and the gamble to go to P2 costly for the 77. He drops back to 4th, squeezed out a little bit, trying to get underneath the 12 in front of him. It is now Minter 1, Salas 2, Luza 3, and Wilson in the number 4 spot. Zelensky 0.6 of a second back with his better tires. Maybe not quite P1 within grasp, but Bobby Zelensky could be a part of this battle that you watch now as you jump back on the board with Wilson. A lot of counter steer at 77, just not giving him what he needs late in this race. Your leader now almost 0.7 up front. Luza trying to squeeze under the 11 car.
And if you're Wilson right now, you're kind of thinking, just play it safe. Gain track position when you can, but do not throw away this race because we saw the segment 2 points. It's only 4 races in this second segment of the year, so you have to pan out for Kansas to be the big make or break race if you're able to succeed here in Nashville Superspeedway. Why? Because Bobby Zelensky, the segment leader, is hanging around in 5th, now with a chance to gain more track position. Even if Tucker Minter goes out and wins this race, he's still a couple of points shy of Zelensky's total for the $3,000 and those crucial playoff bonus points that will get you an edge come Michigan International Speedway in mid-August. So Wilson has to be very careful as the battle for 10th continues on with Garrett Lowe.
And you see the battle for the number 10 spot continues on as well. This is not what Tucker Minter wants to see in the rearview mirror. They are very aggressive for position. Garrett Lowe, a little bit tight that time off of 2. He squeezed up on the 25 Nick Ottinger. Ottinger, after the season that he has had, would love to wrap this thing up with a top 10 finish, firework free, but Dylan Duval, huge run for the 199, hit both the fence and the bumper of the 25 on the exit of the corner. He is on a charge. Up front, we mentioned Zelensky had the best tires out of anybody inside of the top 10. Around Salas for 4th. Now to the inside on Steven Wilson, making a battle for P3.
There may not be enough time, Evan, to catch up to the race leader in Tucker Minter, but there will be enough time to at least grab second by the time this race is over and poised to get the segment 2 victory, because ever since his win at Talladega to kick off the segment, he finished 10th at Charlotte and is poised for a podium here tonight at Nashville Superspeedway. This could allow him to just continue to pull away with that segment 2 advantage, even though Minter is currently in the race lead, trying to look for his 3rd win of 2025. Zelensky makes the poised move to the inside, and all the way to the back, Zach Novak is starting to charge now. So with every passing battle, they're starting to invite more and more to the party, and I don't think Wilson is liking this at all. They're starting to crash his formal parade here at the front.
Zach Novak working on older tires than Zelensky, but slightly newer than the rest of these cars. What can the number 2 Toyota do? Remember, Zach Novak knows how important these consistent finishes are. Won the Segment 1 championship earlier this year. Got himself those playoff bonus points. Got himself that $3,000 check. He would love to replicate those results here in segment number 2. The battle for 10th still ongoing. The battle for the race lead still steady. 7/10 of a second in favor of Tucker Minter. Loses second. Zelensky all the way up into the number 3 spot with 3 laps to go in Nashville.
And 2 of those drivers in that pack, that Kansas City Pioneers car at the top, Graham Boland, and then that black and red FGR Excel Toyota of Seth DeMurcha, had their best finishes of the season in Charlotte, and they're in the middle of this scrap. Ottinger outside loose in turn 2. There's Duval there to follow. They're going all over the 14 degrees of banking, and now Donovan Strauss wants a peek underneath, coming to 2 laps to go. They're not going to give this up. Contact off turn 4. Hip checking to Graham Boland. He'll get sent sideways, and how about again, side by side for P11 back to turn 1.
Ottinger was 7th not that long ago. Now he's 11th. He is really having to scrap to bring this one home. Looking for one of his best results of the season. He's into the outside wall again. That time off at turn 2. Up front, though, Tucker Minter has a couple hundred feet to go to make this race official.
What a run it's been for Tucker Minter as the battle for 10th continues on. Some of these guys looking for their best finish of 2025. We will not have a caution interact with this race, and Evan, Tucker has been on fire since his first win at Rockingham. The strategy is poised in his favor, and the lean is going to get him to a trifecta this year.
Without the aid of a caution, started in the midfield, P16, and after Steven Wilson won 3 of the first 4, Tucker Minter said bet. He'll take his own 3rd race win in the last 4 starts. Tucker Minter goes back-to-back wins at Nashville.
Oh, they're crashing across the line. Nick Ottinger barely getting through to 15th. Lost a ton of ground there. Jimmy Mullis caught up. And Casey Curran, Duval, Graham Boland just barely missing out on the top 10. And that battle continued all the way to the checkered flag. That was absolute bullying between those guys. But how about Tucker Minter? I mean, he has stood up when it's mattered most, and he's put himself in a galaxy of dubs. 3 of the last 4 races, Tucker Minter has found a way to win, all of them through tire strategy and long run pace. It's the summer of Minter in 2025, Evan.
And the 97, going to bring it back to a familiar sight, celebrations on the front straightaway. This winning moment is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR. And Tucker Minter locks up career race win number 7, and already his 3rd here in 2025. Maybe the best performance we've seen for the 97 in his short but successful career thus far. Well, let's take a look at your Coca-Cola move of the race tonight. And You could look all the way back to the grid in which he started this race clean and chipped through the field, Kenneth, but it was the execution late, chasing down Steven Wilson and making this move, which was eventually for the win.
Oh, the Music City, it's kind of like the School of Rock. This is textbook passing on the inside. A great run off of turn 2, tries to cross over the bottom, makes it stick. And, right there, you could easily say Wilson would take that position back with a crossover down the bottom, but Minter played hefty defense on the outside, stayed up top, defensive player of the race, stayed up in that middle lane, tried to force Wilson to use left throttle at the apex, and that is how you keep a driver at bay here in Nashville. Even while Brier Lrad on the fresh tires was starting to scoot by, Minter makes the move ahead of time. Smart IQ play, and Minter just hangs on for the win ever since that moment.
Tucker Minter is in his 3rd season in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, and he is marching into a 3rd straight playoff appearance. What a presence this driver, the number 97 machine, has had. Let's take a look at your Coca-Cola race results. It's another win for the William Byron Esports number 97 team and Chevrolet. Ryan Luza, though, big pickup tonight with a P2 result. Great showing for the driver, the 12, who comes home second. Bobby Zelensky ends up in 3rd, just ran out of laps in the end as one of the fastest cars late. And Steven Wilson, another good showing, leads 19 laps. It will not be race win number 4 for him. He finishes ahead of Vicente Salas at 5th. Zach Novak, Garrett Lowe, Malik Ray, Seth the Merchant, Donovan Strauss, your top 10.
That's plus 20 for Donovan Strauss, by the way, and even more gain ground for Graham Bolin. He started dead last in this race and moved his way all the way to 11th, so an impressive showing for the Kansas City Pioneers car. There's Dylan Duvall back in 12th. Casey Kerwin had the 2-tire call, didn't really pan out, but he at least stays in the top 15, so there's credit to be made there. Jimmy Mullis back in 14th place. Nick Ottinger, even though it's not a top 10 run that he would have liked there in that huge battle coming to the checkered, it is still his best finish of the 2025 season to date. Quentin Warman 16th, Bias back in 17th, Connor Euroshak for the Latart Esports Camp 18th. Not a surprise, or rather a surprising day for Parker White, not really in the top 10. He ended up 19th through strategy. And then there's E-Racers Logan Clampett, Evan, who caps off the top 20.
It's going to be some positives for Clampett. Same with Blaze Crawford ahead of Michael Cozy Jr. Kwame Scott picks up 12 spots. Those are all some progress and positive signs for those drivers. Timothy Holmes, 24th. Dylan Alton, number 25 spot. Samuel Boson and Colin Bowden behind there. Christopher Hill comes home with the number 28 spot. Tyler Gary slips down to P29. And Alexander Russell in 30th.
And there's 31st, Jordy Lopez, a race derailed by early damage to the front nose of his Chevrolet. Nate Stewart back in 32nd. Matt Busa, Michael Guest, Taylor Hurst. We saw a lot of these guys fighting inside the top 25 and even a bit up to the top 15, but they just did not have the speed come strategy time. Colin Keister, 36. Brier Lrad held on in strategy alongside Blake McCandless. They're 37th and 39th. And another showing for Six Karma. They did not have their races prep for Nashville. Eddie Kerner, Daniel Falkingham, 38th and 40th on the grid. Not the race they would have liked to have here at Nashville, but that's the name of the game over a long green flag race and no caution flags. We are now joined by 3-time race winner this season, Tucker Minter. And Tucker, we're going to know you a lot over the last several weeks. 3 of the last 4, and a lot of them coming down to long green flag strategy. What's been the specialty of the setups with William Byron Esports and the way you're able to stride here in the long runs ahead of everyone else?
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard work. That's all it comes down to, is putting in the laps and practicing, finding that right rhythm to have the speed on the long run. I'll tell you what, we might have to run this Eagle Logitech G machine for the rest of the year at the rate we're going, though. Super proud of everything William Byron Esports we put together this year. We had a great time over the weekend at Coke 600 with them, and just super pumped right now.
It's a good time to start getting hot with the 2 race wins in segment 2. You're still trailing Bobby Zelensky, I believe, but you've got a shot to overtake it come Kansas on June 3rd next Tuesday. So how are you going to try to poise yourself for the $3,000 and the extra playoff points that'll definitely help come Michigan?
Yeah, just got to perform like I have the last 2 races. It's pretty frustrating. If I finished 8th, which is where I was when we took the white flag at Talladega, I'd probably be in a lot better spot than I am right now. But that's racing. You can't change it. So all I can do is perform the best I can, and hopefully it works out for me. Hopefully we don't get second again in this segment, because that was pretty annoying after the first one.
music to your ears, third victory of 2025. Tucker, congratulations on the dub here from Nashville. We'll see you at Kansas next week.
Thanks, guys, and thanks to Celsius and iRacing and everything that everybody that works behind the scenes for us. They're just firing on all 8 cylinders, and we're really proud of it.
Tucker Minter gets his third victory of the season. We're now joined by third place finisher Bobby Zelensky. And Bobby, this segment has been going your way ever since Talladega. The win there, 10th place at Charlotte with a pretty fast car. Tonight, you make up for tire strategy here and you end up third. How important is a finish like this in the shortest segment of the 2025 season to hold on?
Yeah, pretty big. I don't know what my point gap is now, but I know Tucker just took a sizable bite into it. But man, I was more thinking about the win there. Went caution free, which is always good. Saw a good race, but it really sucks when you mess up your Q lap and just missed 1 and 2 in qualifying, cost me some positions. But when Tucker pit, it was about 8, 9, 10th gap, and that's how we finished. So glad, he's my setup teammate, so glad he could get a win. But I really wanted the win there. We were fast.
2 intermediate racetracks in segment 2, a third one on the way here at Kansas. Both of those last 2 races have come down to long green flag strategy and discipline over a lengthy period of time. Should we expect the same at Kansas next Tuesday? And how are you going to try to poise yourself in the right position, maybe with strategy, to end up with the segment 2 victory?
Yeah, this core power Chevy will be in it for the win for sure. I think the main difference you've seen in this segment is having a little just more fortunes go my way and just staying out of trouble for the most part. And yeah, Kansas, that's been on the truck for like a month. Me and Chris Money Hill worked on that like a month ago, so we're ready to go. We're gonna do some tuning this week, get qualifying ready, try to qualify up front. That's very important because you see Koshvir like this. Still got third, but better Q could have won us the race. So that should be interesting with the bottom, the high line where you race and get clean air. But hopefully it's another green flag race like this because I think it was really good.
Kansas setup marinating like some fine wine. We'll be excited to see it, Bobby. Congratulations on the third place finish here from Nashville. We'll see you guys at America's Heartland next week. That's Bobby Zelensky. Evan Pasoko ends up third after a very strong Nashville Superspeedway race on strategy.
And if you're a fan of the Summer of Minter or the Summer of eNASCAR, you don't have to wait long because we keep on rolling. We are 8 races down, and we are that much closer to being halfway through this 2025 campaign. We will crest that point with the Segment 2 finale in 1 week's time at the Kansas Speedway. Kenneth, we know these next-gen cars race good on the intermediates. It was another fantastic show tonight. A caution-free race into which Minter sliced through the field to match a career best of a third win in a single season.
Yep, he's been on fire, and with what we've seen from Nashville, the hard racing, the gritty style of staying on your toes with the Goodyear Eagles, Kansas should be no different. A fight for the top at Kansas Speedway, given how strong that area near the outside safer barrier is. So from what we saw here tonight at Nashville, maybe seeing that with the Segment 2 victory on the line between Zelensky and Minter, going to be a close-knit fight to the end.
We'll crown a segment champ, and will we break the deadlock? Minter now tied with Wilson, 3 race wins apiece. Until then, though, that'll do it from us here tonight in Nashville. On behalf of our entire team at iRacing, NASCAR, and your broadcast crew, for Camille Salazar-Hadaway, Alad Cavana, and Jake Sperry on Countdown to Green, for James Pike on Pit Road, for Kenneth Bueno, and myself, Evan Pasoko. I want to say thanks for tuning in, and we hope that you join us next time up. It's in 1 week's time, Tuesday, June the 3rd, from iRacing's virtual Kansas Speedway. That race at every race is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Can be found exclusively right here on the iRacing Sports Network. Until next time, good night from Nashville. Sunoco Report starts right now.
Welcome to the Sunoco post-race report for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series at Nashville Superspeedway. I'm Chase Pike alongside Keenan Kusin. And Keenan, I think that was a race in just the smallest of margins. You heard Bobby Zalenski talk about it in that post-race interview that he missed his Q lap, started 18th instead of what would have been maybe a top 10, a top 5 starting position. And ultimately, even though he ends up with a podium finish, for him, that made the difference. Had he qualified up there, there's a good chance that he's at least in the mix for the win. Maybe even coming home with the checkered flag tonight.
Yeah, and that's something that we could talk to the drivers about a little bit later. I think the caution-free was maybe not something that was on everybody's bingo card, especially with how tough and narrow this track was. They tried a couple of times. There was some attempts to throw a yellow flag out there, but staying green the whole way, flag to flag, that really played a different strategy in for a lot of these guys. And, I mean, it worked out for some, didn't work out for others, as it worked out the best for Minty Fresh, Tucker Mitchell, top of the leaderboard.
3 wins now for Tucker Mitchell. You heard Evan talk about it right at the end of the broadcast. Now tied with Steven Wilson for the most wins in the Coke Series this season. Luza, Zelensky, Wilson, and Salas, the rest of your top 5. Then Novak Lowe, Malik Ray, Seth the Merchant, and Donovan Strauss ending up in the top 10. But let's bring in Warrington, Virginia's Tucker Minter, racing for William Byron Esports. Tucker, you were one of the few up at the front that decided to take the undercut and pit before everybody else. With the prep that you all did over at William Byron Esports, did you get an indication that that was going to be the way to go on strategy if this race went green flag to flag?
I mean, I just think that strategy is really situational every week. You know, last week with where I was, I felt like the overcut was going to work well. This week with where I was, I think the undercut, you know, it was going to work out. It's just really tricky. It changes track to track. It changes with how many people are close to the front. So you just have to be ready to change and evolve your strategy. So, you know, I was happy with how the traffic ended up working out. This week, I thought that would kind of help the undercut a bit like it did last year where, you know, people like Bobby or Luza ended up getting caught behind people that they were faster than, but not so fast that they could just blow by them. So luckily it worked out again this week.
As always, if you've got questions for Tucker, put them into chat where you are watching, and you might have the opportunity to have your question answered on air. For the moment, we'll turn our attention to one of our esteemed members of the eNASCAR media community, Race Digital's Jacob Seelman.
Tuck, we're making a nasty little habit about this, but it's a good thing for you. How's it feel to be on top of the world right now?
Man, I mean, it's awesome. I didn't expect when we started 19th that I would have a chance to win this race, especially going green to checkered. But it just goes to show how good you know, my William Byron Esports team and Altus Esports team behind the scenes are working right now. You know, just super proud of the effort because it's not just me, it's everybody behind the scenes working week in, week out, especially with this triple header. It's a lot of work. And I was at the Coke 600 this weekend, so I wasn't able to do as many, you know, laps as I normally would be able to. So just a lot of people behind me keeping me up here.
Are you have you officially now with 3 and 4 races, have you put a target on your back, or has everybody else put the target on your back at this point, you feel like?
I mean, I'm not sure. It's, you know, it's just so cyclical. You know, Steven was on top early in the year. Right now, you know, I'm doing really well, but hopefully we can just have it cycle around that come the playoffs, I'm back on top.
Question from chat for you, Tucker, from iRacing Clayton H. To Tucker, do you have issues with your glasses fogging up during races? Or are you racing so hard that, you know, you get a little bit sweaty, a little bit sort of, I guess, high stressed out? Is that a problem that you face when you're running in the Coke Series?
No, I haven't had that as a problem. Luckily, I keep them just far enough away from my eyes, I guess, that I don't have that. But I just got a new set of glasses actually right before Charlotte. So I have to make sure I have them in the right spot so they don't dig into my head. But that's really the only complaint I have with my glasses. Pretty happy with them.
What's going on, Tucker? Again, congratulations on tonight. Another question from Twitch chat from Pepper702. Do you have any tear-offs for your glasses? You got any wet wipes there sitting around just in case?
Last week, since it was my first race with the new glasses, I actually had one of those microfiber rags next to me in case the fogging did occur. But luckily, we've gone a couple weeks without any issues, so I left that back on the table behind me.
We stand a man who keeps that thing on him, James.
Does keep that thing on him. Let's go to a man who knows a lot of things about eNASCAR, iRacing's own Justin Belillo.
Yeah, Tucker, I do want to talk about the end of the segment 2 coming up next week at Kansas. You did gain some points on Bobby Zelensky tonight. I believe unofficially you're going into that race 9 points behind him. What are your chances? What do you feel about that?
I mean, it's going to be tough. You know, Bobby and I work together on all this behind the scenes. So, and I think you see that tonight, where, you know, he got third, I won the race. It's hard to make up points on your teammate. So, you know, it's really just unfortunate that we started the segment out at Talladega. So, you know, it was kind of just throwing a dart at the wall and seeing what would happen. Kind of similar to the first segment where we started at Daytona. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of how we have the segment set up, but you know, all I can do is work with what I have and try to do my best every week, and hopefully it works out for us.
As those of you who've been watching the Sunoco Post Race Report regularly know, we do have a question of the week every week. And Keenan Kusin, I know you've been chomping at the bit to get to Nashville because I know you're about to have a lot of fun with this.
All right, Tucker, let me set the scene for you. Let me paint a picture. It's media day. You got all your drivers, your colleagues in the room with you, and everyone decides to go to karaoke for the evening. What song are you picking up there with microphone in hand? And this is not optional. You can't say, I'm not a karaoke guy. That doesn't count. You have to pick something. What is it?
I mean, I feel like I'd either have to do some country classic, but outside of some solid country gold, I'm thinking Real Gone from the opening scene of Cars. That'd be pretty sick. I can get pretty fired up singing Real Gone in a car going to a race.
You know, I wasn't expecting what we were going to get, and we already got a really good answer to start off. So everyone's going to be looking up to Tucker as they did on the leaderboard, James.
I'd say that's very Cars coded. I know Casey Kerwin would definitely appreciate that. Question in chat from G Harold 2. Is there any thought of trying to get behind the wheel in real life sometime? Kind of like a Caden Honeycutt, a Parker Retzlaff, a Garrett Lowe, a Donovan Strauss. Is that something that would interest you in the future?
Yeah, I'd love to give real life driving a shot, but I'm not actively pursuing opportunities or anything like that. You know, I don't have any real life car experience, so a lot of people don't just call you up really in general these days of, hey, you want to drive my race car. But if anybody's in the chat, you know, wants me to drive a car, then you can, you know, reach out to me and find me. But I'm pretty happy with where I'm at, being able to compete at the top level of eNASCAR and represent you know, the great sponsors that we have with Logitech and Celsius and iRacing. And you know, I'm in a happy place right now, but I would love to try driving real life just at some point.
And last question here from Steven Wilson himself. Can we slow down ever?
I mean, we'd be asking Steven the same thing, you know, a couple weeks ago. So maybe if we both slowed down, we could let somebody else get up front. But I think we like it how we have it right now.
The only two drivers with 3 wins and the only driver with 3 wins in his last 4 starts. Tucker Mentor for William Byron Esports. Congratulations on your win tonight at Nashville. We'll see you at Kansas 1 week from tonight. We turn our attention now to Malik Ray for Vegas Inferno. Malik, who's one of the hardest chargers in tonight's race and had a good solid run all around, 13th to 8th. How big is it to have a run like this on 1.5 miles just to establish a good baseline and sort of reset here as we look towards the summer?
It was really important. I was just trying to just make sure that, you know, that I was just able to keep the tires on it, and just try to keep the track position that I had, because I tried to save tires last week at Charlotte and it didn't pan out for me. So I just tried to just make sure that, you know, like I stayed up front, or at least like, you know, like around the top 10, and it paid off for me. So I'm really happy about that.
Let's go back to Jacob Seelman.
Absolutely. Malik, my man, first question does not have anything to do with tonight's race. It has to do with that beautiful piece over your right shoulder. What's the story behind the wooden American flag?
So I had a viewer of mine, his name is Terry Silvers, and he made this for me. It was about like 2 or 3 weeks ago, or 2 or 3 years ago, and I've had it since then. And yeah, man, it's really nice here. I'm gonna bring it over into the whole frame so y'all can see it. I mean, this thing's really, you know, it's really nice, man. Y'all can see, but yeah, man, it was a nice little souvenir for him. So
that's awesome.
Shout out to him. I appreciate him for doing that.
Okay, so Pike mentioned you've been the whole hard charger thing for a bit now. If we could ever drag you out of that average start of 21st, can you win some of these races? You've had speed, man, but qualifying's been killing you.
Yeah, man, qualifying is not my best. It's not my best thing. I be trying to practice more often now because, I understand that I have the race pace. I just got to match the qualifying pace with it, and I think if I can do that, I think it'll it'll elevate my game on the game and whatnot. So yeah, man, if I can work on that. I didn't do bad at the last track. It was P3 at Charlotte, so it was P3 at Charlotte. It was P3 here, so it's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Well, you're in playoff position. You came into this and leave now seventh in the combined points for the regular season so far. So you're in a good position. I mean, are you confident that this team has and you have a playoff run in it?
Oh yeah, no question. Yeah, man, I'm really locked in this season. I'm practicing qualifying more, and my race pace is better. So I think I can. I think I have a good shot at it. Yeah, for sure.
Justin Melillo.
Malik, I don't want to stir up any drama, but I do got to ask if there's anything that we need to know about those last couple of laps between you and Nick Ottinger. You guys were throwing haymakers at one another.
No, I think me and him have a good understanding of what happened. I don't think he's too upset. I don't think he should be upset at me. If anyone, he should be upset at Graham. I mean, Graham Bowen sent he sent him absolutely packing. I just gave him a tad, I just gave him a little bump, and it wasn't anything crazy. But nah, man, Graham shipped him. He shipped him through the whole quarter. So nah, man, I think me and Nick are good. I think. Now, I could be wrong, but I mean, I feel like we're, all right.
Fair enough. Well, we'll get Nick's side of the story later on tonight, though. I'll get it out of one of you.
I got you.
I am so ready for this because we got Keenan Kusin coming in for our question of the week. And if there's anybody in the Coke series that I know is going to have a good answer, it's Malik. Keenan, hit him with it.
All right, Malik. So it's media day, right? Let me paint the stage for you. It's media day. You and the entire grid are all going out for karaoke with each other. What are you busting out to be your one karaoke song? Keep in mind your audience of the entire Coke series grid.
Oh, that's easy. That is actually, I'm gonna hit him with Drake. I'm gonna hit him with Drake and Do Not Disturb. Yeah, man, I'm gonna hit him with that one. I know that song word for word and bar for bar, even the ad libs, everything, all of it.
We're gonna get a full performance. There will be no karaoke. It will just be like Drake is here.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they may as well just cut it off because I'm gonna be rapping that bar for bar. So,
I mean, here's the thing, Keenan. You should love that as a Canadian. You should love the love that a Canadian artist is getting. I would think. No, that's how that works.
I was gonna point that out. Yeah, but I mean, you got to fall on one side of the fence when it comes to Drake at the moment. So I mean, it's a controversial pick, but if know all the words, I can't say no to that.
All right, I want to expand on this a little bit just because I know you have great answers because you have good taste on this. So what's rolling in the playlist the last week or so, Malik? What have you been bumping around?
Drake, Do Not Disturb, a lot of Party Next Door and his last album, Something About You by Drake and Party Next Door, March Madness by Future, that's always in rotation. That's nonstop. I'd say Bruno Mars. I'd say Just the Way You Are. That's
a classic.
Yeah, man. I'd say that's about it as of right now.
I have
Gunna, of course.
Fair. Also, fun fact, Malik, I don't know if you know this, but
what's up?
Kenneth Bueno, our co-commentator for the Coke series, was able to get a line of March Madness into one of the broadcasts earlier this year. And for those watching here on the Sunoco Post-Race Report, here's your challenge. Kenneth tries to make a point. It's sort of like how Harvick had his word to get into every broadcast. Kenneth got one of the bars of March Madness into the broadcast. So we got more. I forget which one. He'd know the answer. You'd have to DM and shoot him a line. But Justin, I hear you have some news for us.
No, it's not really news. I'm just continuing to stir up my drama. We got Nick Ottinger in the booth now. And Nick, I already asked Malik about it. He said nothing's going wrong between the two of you, but I just sat back and watched for the last 3 laps that you two were just absolutely beating the crap out of each other. Is there a story there? Malik says no, but I want to hear your side of it.
Oh, he wasn't the only one that was getting a little rough out there like I was too. So, realistically, threw a block on Malik to make sure I wasn't going to go 3 wide and wash Dylan up the track in a turn 1 next lap. He didn't like it, used the bumper. So I'm like, okay, that's how you're going to get by me. It's okay. We're going to race how people race me, right? So that's that old cliche. I'm at the stage of my career, truthfully, Justin, that people want to race that way. I'll keep it in a memory bank by the time I'm done with this, and I'll cash those tokens in. So, with Malik, we've always raced pretty good, really respectfully a lot of times. I think tonight was just a combination of how hard you had to pass. Sometimes you had to use the bumper. I threw a really heavy slider in a 3. I think it was about 2 or 3 to go. Made it to where he had to think about cutting his center, a different way. And then homeboy decided, he's just going to send me the next lap in the turn 1. So I'm going to keep that in my memory bank and, ultimately I'll use it when the old 25 machine needs it.
And question answered. Thank you very much, both of you. Thank you so much. That's all I needed. Malik, thank you for your time tonight. I'm going to hand it back to these guys, though. They're going to talk to Nick for a little bit more.
All right, I got you, man. See you guys.
All sides of a story, no People's Court theme needed. Nick Ottinger. Big battle at the back there. And you talked a little bit about just how hard it was to pass. For those of the folks in the audience who haven't had the chance to run Nashville, don't necessarily, had the experience of racing in the Coke Series, can you sort of give a sense of just how difficult it was to make a pass here at Nashville tonight?
Yeah, I'll give you a prospect of how our race went, right? Like, we're pretty solid on a short run, and we just built so loose on getting rear drive and, where you could use throttle, past the center to mid-exit and carry that on exit. A lot of guys could manage their pace early on. I tried managing my pace. So if you're not managing your tires efficiently enough, you're going to have situations like the 25 was in tonight. I managed it pretty good. Out racing really aggressive because it's really easy to pull the inside guy back and then ultimately slow you both down. So in a situation like that, you have to commit even harder on entry. Some cases, you have to commit twice as hard on entry just to make sure you can clear the guy. And at that, it's at an expense of tire life. It's at an expense of tire temperature. And anytime you get to the threshold of the right rear on this tire and this car, you're just prone to, lack that drive quality. And that's something we struggle with tonight. But, you position the best you can. A lot of guys like using the bumpers just because these cars are essentially tanks just to run into people. So you don't have a lot of good racing etiquette in a nutshell. That's just the facts of it. So people just use the car ahead as their brakes. Or they'll pretty much just aero block as much as they can. So we're on the receiving end of that a lot tonight, but I've been on the other side of it too, kind of causing, on those fronts too in my career. So at the end of the day, that's just the prospects of how difficult it is to pass because you have to drive harder and harder, and especially closing laps, people are not going to cut you any brakes.
Those of you in Twitch chat, go ahead and clip that because that may be one of the best descriptive answers we've heard of the Sunoco post-race report all year. Fabulous work there from Nick. Jacob Seelman, what questions do you have for our 2020 champ?
Well, considering that Justin has already gone and just turned the trying to stir drama pot up to 11, I'll do it with this first question. Nick Ottinger, you are 31st in points after tonight. We are halfway through the year. That is not good. Is Nick Ottinger hitting the panic button yet?
Never. 25 team may not be performing, but we had bright spots tonight, right? So that's what you got to look at. You got to do it one race at a time. Unfortunately, a lot of guys were built tighter than we were, for drive quality. We were just too free. So we fixed those remedies, through, the back channels of testing, working with the teammates, the support cast we have around us. We qualified third on realistically a subpar qualifying lap for me. So I control the race. It's a different outcome. We just build a little bit tighter condition in the middle of the race. We may not be in the same spots we just were in at the end there. But Yeah, we're not panicking. I mean, we have all the capability to get to top 20. We have all the capability to win races. It's just executing and making sure we leverage our resources. So, really, that's where we stand. That's how we got to treat it, race by race basis.
Well, Nick, first of all, sorry, go ahead, Jacob.
I'm just blown. I mean, I've known Nick for a long time. I'm just blown away how he continues to stay so ridiculously calm about this. I mean, do you have ice water in your veins at this point, Nick, or has it just been there, done that so many times that nothing really phases you at this point?
We take some Celsius before our races, so that gets us hyped up. And by the end, we're pretty calm and cool and collected, unless we have situations like tonight where we're getting used as a battering ram, basically. So, once again, you keep those in a memory bank. You use those as a token for maybe we don't make the playoffs, right? You just think objectively. We're in a tough spot, 31st. We're inching closer to the top 20, 29 points from 20th. Last race, we were 39. So, you keep gaining on something like that. You keep finding some new momentum. You cash your tokens in, put people in other spots so where they don't want to be. Maybe they're in the same situation 25 was tonight. So this can change really quick. We have a new build coming here, relatively probably a month. Maybe a new tire that induces some qualities. The 25 team is, really hitting on all strides, already as soon as when the build comes out. So you don't know. I mean, that's how I got to treat this. Ultimately, it's been in this long enough. Stuff don't go your way sometimes, but at the end of the day, you do whatever you can. You put your practice in. You want it bad enough, that's what you're going to do.
Well, Nick, first of all, it's good to have you back, especially with a smile on your face. It's nice to see you again, as always. And secondly, really good question from the Twitch chat and Heroes Motorsport. This is a really good mix this season of veterans and newcomers to the Coke Series. How do you see the veterans faring against the newcomers? And do you see the sport opening up for older people, or do you see this as a young person's game?
So I have a little bit of a selfish answer and realistic answer. This series, I touched on it on really how the racing etiquette is. You have all this capability to drive in like last lap. Graham just decided to use me as a brake, right? That's the quality of racing sometimes that is in this series. And sometimes the newcomers just take on to that because those veteran teammates that you just asked about, sometimes that's what they do. So it's hard meshing that balance. I do think the series is competitive. I honestly think the car is easy to drive, but it's not the easiest to maximize the potential. And a lot of that comes from the setup development with your teammates, your support cast. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a good balance. I do think if you're just starting out and being one of the older, drivers in the series trying to get into it, I think that is something you need a real good support cast with you. You have some of these big teams like North Force, Dead Zone, who have 12, 13 drivers, 10, something like that, who have a lot of ability to push each other, testing laps, whatever it may be. So that's where I could see one of the older drivers that's coming in have a better balance and really excel, because that's more laps on track. When people are not looking, if you can double, triple some of the workload and resources you have, that's a lot of times that's pretty efficient in this series.
Just so you're aware, there is no 10-50% veterans discount for the Coke Series, right? You are aware of that? That's not news to you?
I'm really trying to leverage, at this point, realistically, Keenan, I'm trying to leverage having a champions provisional in this series, okay? That's all I'm going for. That's the way the season's looking. But we'll keep trucking along.
All right, I'll have my people call your people.
Appreciate it.
All right, Nick Ottinger there this evening. And Nick, giving us some really good insight here as we take a look at the results one more time. Top 10, looking at names that stand out. How about Zach Novak? I don't think we talked a lot about Zach Novak during the race, but after the race, Keenan comes in with another top 10 finish. It's the exact same kind of consistency that got him the Segment 1 championship.
we've seen a trend here, James, in past seasons where a lot of the newcomers come in and really come out of the gate running. This season, especially the last couple races, look at a lot of those names there. They're kind of Coke Series regulars, right? And you can take a look at the points, too. Bobby Zelensky currently leading this segment with 10 points over Steven Wilson. It's hard to call Steven Wilson a newer name, but Bobby Zelensky's been here about as long as the series has existed. Except the Merchant's up there, Zach Novak's up there, Casey Kerwin's up there. So, a lot of truth to what Ottinger had just said.
Another thing, just as I look at that graphic, Tucker Minter has 2 wins in this segment. He's still behind in the segment standings to Zelensky by 10 points, which speaks to just how consistent Zelensky has been. Let's bring in our pole sitter for this evening and runner-up from FTRSL eRacing out of Cypress, Texas, Ryan Luza. Ryan, you look back at this race, is it glass half full because your best finish of the season, your best run of the season by a good margin? Is it glass half empty because it's not a win from pole? How do you sort of view things?
Yeah, it's empty. The second, it helps us in points a little bit, but realistically, the win is, what we need to get into the playoffs. So, feels bad. I really, even looking back, I don't know what I could have done differently. I feel like I did everything that I would have wanted to do. Had a little bit fresher tires, kind of sat back there and wanted to let them race, and I really thought they would burn it up there, fighting for the lead. Especially with how the aero was. If you had anyone parked up on your bumper, it made your car so loose. So I thought Steven was going to stay all over Tucker, because Tucker, I think, had the older tires of Steven and Vicente, and then I had a lot fresher than all of them, and it wasn't enough. I think maybe if I could have got by Steven and Vicente a little bit quicker and didn't have to use as much, but I had to use a lot to get by them because I knew I had to go. And just didn't have quite enough. We were half a tenth a lap there faster than Tucker, but it just wasn't enough. I think they had the better car. Him and Bobby were super fast, started midfield and ended up 1 and 3. So I think they were just a tad better. But looking back, I don't really know what I could have done any better or differently to get that. So I guess that's the half full part, is that I even looking back analyzing, I don't think I could have really done anything differently. But big thanks to all the guys at Dead Zone. Really good car, first top 5 in a long time. So good to bring that home, have the Q speed, put a lap down and run up there and have a shot at it. And big thanks to FGRXL as well for having me on board this year.
A reminder that if you're watching along in chat and you want to punch in your question, you may have the opportunity to have it answered by Ryan Luza. But for now, we'll turn back to Mr. Jacob Seelman.
All right, Luza, you had a ton of speed at Charlotte. Pole, best finish of the year here. Are you close to saying you're back? Are we at the point where this is not an anomaly, or is there still speed work to be done?
Yeah, I don't know. Just looking back, even last year and most of this year, I feel like the speed has been there. It's just getting through these races cleanly. It just hasn't worked out for us. But I think we've had the pace. obviously, improving a little bit here. But I think the biggest thing is just, qualify well, try to stay out of trouble, and just put myself in the best spot that I can. Yeah, I don't know. It's from the outside looking in, I think a lot of people think that the pace just hasn't been there, but personally I feel like it's been there, just haven't had the luck or whatever it is to really contend for these races. But last 2 races we've been right there. We're going to keep doing what we've been doing and try to contend and bring one of these home.
Justin Melillo, what say you?
Same me. You know what, Ryan Luza, you are reminding me of the old Ryan Luza these last 2 weeks. So I guess really the only question I have is, with the upcoming season 3 updates for this car, are you looking forward to them, or is it man, you just finally got this car figured out and now you got to figure it out again?
I don't know. It's definitely both sides of it. We have been good, so that kind of feels bad that it's just a bunch of unknowns coming in. But I'm personally looking forward to it. I think things have been way too similar for way too long now. So really looking forward to the change, and hopefully all of us at Dead Zone can just put our heads down, work hard, and be one of the better teams post build. So that's the goal. I'm looking forward to it. Gonna be a lot of work to be done, but I'm confident that we'll have the speed post build.
Keenan Kusin, I know you're just sitting waiting here. It's been a minute since we've heard from you. It feels like.
I've been sitting here twiddling my thumbs. It's fine. First of all, Ryan, again, welcome back so soon. Nice to see you. Secondly, of course, we're in Nashville this week. We asking a lot of the drivers all the same question. It's media day. You've got all your other drivers in the room with you. You're doing karaoke. What song is the one that you're going with?
I'm not a karaoke person. I would not do it. You couldn't pay me enough money. I do not think so.
Well, on top of that,
I would sit there and watch.
Well, we had a question from chat, but I think we're going to do this the better way. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, Dylan Duval himself. Dylan, the floor is yours, my friend.
Hey, Ryan, I was just wondering if you think having a positive mental attitude has had an impact on your recent surge in performance.
I don't think so, personally.
Oh, really?
Really? Bad luck is just bad luck, and that's what we've had for the past 3 or 4 years, I think. So
yeah, for sure.
Hopefully the good luck continues, and we get to run up here and have top fives. But what can you do?
Oh man, good run tonight though, for real.
Thank you, Dylan.
Wild stuff always, especially when we get more drivers in. Really great question here from chat. I want to go to this from Heroes Motorsports. Ryan, what was the driving force that pushed you to become a professional esports driver? And what would you say to someone who is 30 or older looking to break into the Coke Series?
I'd say it's probably going to be tough, but I mean, it's literally all just about, the effort you put in, laps you put in. For me personally, I really got into it just because I used to race a lot more in real life. And it was always tough to do, with funding and all that. Real racing is expensive, and that's the great thing about iRacing. I mean, I guess if you want to count, expensive steering wheels and stuff, maybe you could say it's expensive as compared to, other hobbies. But for racing specifically, like the price point that you get to spend to do iRacing and, compete, it's like pennies on the dollar as far as real racing, and it's the closest thing that you can get. So it's just, now that I'm not racing as much, this is just where I come to, get that competitive side out of me and, try to compete and, getting a little older here, but I think we've shown the past, 2 or 3 weeks that we still have the speed and can fight for these wins.
Ryan, big run tonight. A lot of good insight there. Thank you as always for the time. Congrats on that podium finish, and we'll see you in Kansas 1 week from tonight.
Thanks, James. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
We turn our attention from Ryan Lucid to BS Plus Competitions, Garrett Lowe, a.k.a. NASCAR Euro Series podium finisher, Garrett Lowe. So let's start with that, because I know that was big news that dropped. So can you tell the people who didn't get the chance to watch it live about your run and how awesome it was?
Yeah, so it's Italy round 3. I had the junior podium there in round 3. Had a rough weekend, honestly. Ended up in the wall in practice on Friday, first round of practice. Last 10 minutes just on an in lap, and the gearbox got stuck between 4th and 3rd sequential. So obviously, like, just when it locks up, and went off in the gravel under the tires. So spent all afternoon fixing it and all night repairing it the rest of the way. And yeah, had a pretty good recovery and ended up able to grab that junior podium.
Fabulous stuff. Jacob Seelman, your turn to hit the floor with Garrett Lowe.
I'm going to hit the floor right where you left off with him, James. I know it's been a lot of big things, a lot of travel for you, Garrett. How have you balanced your Euro Series commitments with, as you've said before, the time commitment it takes to not just compete in this series, but be successful in this series?
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty challenging. I'm not working full time anymore. I just do freelance engineering, freelance race engineering, strategy engineering when I can. So it's not as bad as I think it was earlier this year for me when I was working mostly full time hours. So that's been a little bit of a help for me. But yeah, these back-to-back weeks are super intense, especially when you're on a small team like me. We really have 3 drivers, and really I'm the one doing most of the runs. I think I turned close to 2,000 laps for Nashville over the course of the 2 weeks before Charlotte and this week. So yeah, it's a lot. Try to do as much as we can when we can, especially when I'm gone for 6 or 7 days at a time to race. So yeah, it's stressful. But yeah, trying to make most of every opportunity.
Okay, you mentioned it, so now I have to be the one to bring it to the table. Who are you freelancing with?
I'll keep that under wraps, but it's just WRL, sports car stuff. Just something to keep my feet wet while I'm racing and can't really work a full-time job. So,
Keenan, where are the chocolate chip cookies? We need to bribe him.
Ah, man. Give me 15, 20 minutes. I don't know what I'm doing over here.
Do you ever know what you're doing over there?
I'm going to have a talk with you after. Garrett, I think a lot of emphasis has been put on how the sim has helped you in your recent transition to, well, not recent, because you've driven stuff before, but you know what I mean. What have you learned now in the seat of a race car, especially one of that level, that's translated back into the sim for you?
It's a good question. I think a lot of it has to do with kind of just a racecraft, and I think I say that in every time anyone asks me this question, but I think the more you race in real life and the more you race on the sim, the more they kind of do start to go back and forth. If you're doing the hybrid racing style where you do both, yeah, so for sure it's been a little bit of a challenge to adapt to the different style of racing over there. They're not really fond of using fenders, though it's allowed. It's just not really gentlemanly, and if you run somebody off, it could be a penalty. So I guess trying to get used to that has been a change as well, but obviously something that, at the Coke level, you run somebody over, you get incident points for that. So, that's always helped.
We've been asking everybody the same question, of course, tonight's race in Nashville. So let me set the scene for you. It's media day. You've got the entire Coke Series grid all in the room with you. It's karaoke time. You've got the microphone. What's your go-to tune?
I'm not singing. Not singing.
Okay, well, follow up with that. Who do you think is going to take the karaoke the best out of all your colleagues?
Dude, I don't spend time with these people. I just drive the car. I have no idea. Based on this weekend when we had some of us out of the Coca-Cola trailer at the Speedway, I think Tucker would probably do a pretty good job. So yeah, probably Tucker.
All right, so I've been tasked to get a song out of you. So it maybe not karaoke, but is there something you know all the words to? You've spent a lot of time on planes lately, so there's got to be something.
Yeah, I watch movies or TV or work on a plane. I don't really listen to music. I haven't listened to music in a long time, really. Yeah, no, I don't. I could probably sing all of Talladega by Eric Church if I had to, but I'd have to be quite inebriated to do that.
All depends on the price of beers on the plane, I suppose, James.
Well, speaking of beer, we got water.
That's always a good segue.
Right, I know, right? You never know where this is going, right? So we heard that for those who are familiar with David Portnoy's One Bite, Everybody Knows the Rules, that your dad did something similar with the beer in Germany. So you want to tell us a little bit about that whole experience and how that went, Garrett?
Yeah, so it started out as I was going to have a rating system, and we were going to go through like all the different foods, but I'm really picky and I don't drink beer because I just can't stand it. So we started out with kind of a rating system for both of us, and it just kind of transitioned to he's willing to try everything. So now it's just his rating system, and it's kind of funny. We didn't know about the whole Dave Portnoy thing until later, and then now it's actually kind of funny. But yeah, no, he loves trying food, so anytime he get his hands on something to try, and they're like, hey, here, try this, and we have good hospitality at the track, and they're always like, hey, like, you will like this. So it's been a little interesting, but just trying to make good fun of it, right, while we're over there.
Do you have a favorite food that you may have picked up? Have your horizons broadened in a culinary sense now that you've traveled over there so much?
Not really. The schnitzel was pretty good. I was skeptical at first, but it's not bad. I actually kind of liked it. The food is just a little bit better. Like, we don't do bread the same in the US. Like, bread over there is just so much better. Italy was pretty good. A little disappointed in the pizza. If you watch the next episode of Uncharted, you'll see the full breakdown. The pizza was disappointing. The pasta was pretty good. And I've just the more I travel, the more I see you can't go bad with a good old steak. Like, just anywhere you get a steak, it's pretty good.
Love it, love it, love it. Wiener Schnitzel und Jägerschnitzel, jawohl. We liked it. We liked it. Good stuff. Garrett, a big thanks to you, and a reminder that if you want to see the Uncharted episodes of the BS Plus competition YouTube channel, you can hop over there and go check those out and see more of the shenanigans that Garrett and company get up to while he's racing in Europe. Thanks a bunch, Garrett. Appreciate it.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, guys.
Garrett Lowe of BS Plus competition, and we turn to the final driver of the evening on the Sunoco post-race report, Bobby Zelensky, racing for the ERA Esports team out of Fresno, California. P3 this evening and leader in the segment 2 point standings. So is that maybe the silver lining in all this? Because I know you lamented the qualifying run earlier, but is that maybe at least a small something to take away?
Yeah. I'm definitely trying to win that because that's 5 playoff points and a good amount of money. So I think we're like, I haven't seen points, but doing it in my head, I think I'm like 10 points up on the next guy, which is I think Tucker and Steven. So if I go get a top 5 next week, we're pretty good. I think we lock it up, but I'd like to still win another race. But yeah, I mean, Tucker also messed up qualifying, but he started right in front of me, so he had pretty much first dibs on all the passes, and yeah, I think it made the difference a bit there. Wish we could have battled it out, but like I can't be mad at third from 18th, but I can be mad at me throwing 1 and 2. So,
Bobby, conveniently, if you want to pull up the production feed here in our little setup, then you can take a look at the points live yourself, or if you've got the stream up here, that'll pop up now. So you've got a 10-point buffer on Steven and Tucker heading into Kansas. Do you like that? Do you feel comfy? Does it put pressure on you with your Kansas program? Where do you sort of view it now that you're seeing the raw data and the numbers here?
yeah, I mean that's doable, right? One of them would have to win, and I'd have to finish 6th. So that's whatever. I'm not going to think about it too hard until like late race, maybe, knowing my positioning. But like I said, I'm gonna go there and try to beat those guys and win. I'd like to keep the momentum going. I think our team's kicking ass right now. So,
Jacob Seelman, what say you?
Well, what says me actually comes to the schedule, because we're sitting in the middle of a 3-race run, Bobby. We've got another 3-race run coming after the June 10th off week. I'm curious, as one of the veterans of the series, you've kind of been through both eras, back to when it was standard week on, week off, week on, week off. Are you a fan of having these back-to-back-to-back stints where you can kind of just forget about a bad race or ride the momentum from a good race, or would you rather have the gaps like we used to have?
I don't mind it at all. I mean, I think it's gonna maybe get a bit. The reason that this next one's gonna be a bit tougher is because it's gonna be a new build. So we have basically 1 week to learn the new build, and then Iowa, and then another week, and then Dover, and then another week till the road course. But at least that's fixed, so it makes it a little easier. But you still gotta learn a new road car. I don't mind, because it's the same for everybody, right? It's just less prep for everybody. You don't got to stress about it, and yeah, you just kind of get on with it. I don't mind having these 3 weeks in a row. I can understand people not liking it, but I feel like we could do 18 races in 25 weeks or something like that. I wouldn't mind, because it is the same for everybody. It's fine with me. I think it's better to have more racing weekly.
Keita Kusin, I know you've got some fun stuff here.
Yeah, so we've had actually, you say fun, but we've actually had a couple of really good questions from chat tonight. This comes from Heroes Motorsports and wants to know, Bobby, you're one of the more senior drivers, if not the senior driver this year in the Coke Series. I wouldn't use the word senior personally, but how does your experience play a role in racing against the newcomers on the track, and what are your plans as far as remaining in Coke Series competition?
Yeah, I think Noel Ottinger's a little more senior than me, which it's crazy to think about it, right? It's kind of fast, kind of gone by fast, but you kind of remember your rookie years the most, and then all of a sudden you're one of the senior guys. But I'm gonna still do this until I just don't have fun with it anymore. I think I'm having fun with it all the time. Just because I enjoy racing, I enjoy the game. I I don't really take it too hard. When something doesn't go my way, it sucks. But like, it's always another race to do, and as long as I'm enjoying it, I'm sticking around, you know. Or something in life changes or whatever, then I have to stop. Then is what it is. But yeah, I'm enjoying my time, and you know, I think every year I get a little bit better, which is kind of what you're supposed to do. Just with experience, get more wise. You've just seen a little bit more stuff, so you're quicker to react to certain changes or types of racing or whatever. I've had to change my driving style many a times now, and that's just made me maybe more skilled and made me a better coach when coaching people on how to drive and how to race. So I don't know, I'm in a good spot.
Bobby, it's Justin Malillo, and I got a very serious question for you as a man who's about to embark on his own personal late night dinner journey. What were you eating when you joined this chat a couple of seconds?
I wasn't eating anything. I was just like chewing my tongue. I wasn't eating nothing. But I'm gonna go get something to eat after this for sure. I'm hungry.
What's on the menu then?
Maybe steak.
Steak at 10 o'clock? Oh wait, it's 7 o'clock for you.
Brother.
So
it's perfect time.
That's fair. All right. I'll go away then.
Justin, his graphic says Fresno, California. Can you not read?
There's sun outside.
It's 10 o'clock here.
Look.
It's late here.
Yeah. Got sunlight over here in Cali.
Can you show us?
I tried, Robin? But I'm like, see?
Hey, look at that.
Yeah.
Full darkness and rain over here. I love that.
It sucks to drive in light unless it's the finale, and then it is what it is, right?
Fair. Bobby, are you going to see you at the finale again? Is that a game plan to be able to race in the light because you're in Charlotte, perhaps?
I mean, I always try to make the finale, you know, like that's always my plan. Sometimes I'm not able to go, you know, sometimes I'm not good enough to go, but hopefully I'm good enough this year in the playoffs because we're going to be in the playoffs. I just need to get some more wins, more playoff points so we can try to shore our way into the top 4. But we'll worry about that in a couple months.
Bobby, question from the Twitch chat. It was from a while ago, but I'm assuming you probably know who this is. From Clayton H. is who should the Lakers target in the upcoming draft?
I don't think we have a draft pick. I don't think we have a draft pick, actually. I think we traded that because, you know, we just trade draft picks for old, washed up players, and, you know, we have no role players, but
talk to him, Bobby.
We got Luka Doncic. It's fine. That's all I want. You know, we won title 5 years ago, and we got Luka Doncic now. Like, I'm just gonna enjoy watching Laker games. You know, and that's their job to make the team better. No one's beating the Thunder for the next 4 years, so we're good.
All right, we got Nathan Lyon jumped in chat and he asked a question for you. So, who's your favorite Pacers player, and why, and how bad will the Knicks lose that series?
Oh, I mean, they're playing right now. I thought they were winning. I want the Knicks to win. I'm friends with Nathan, and good for him if the Pacers win. But I want New York to win because I want to see the mayhem happen on the streets. Okay, I'm all for mayhem. But Halliburton's my favorite player. I've liked Halliburton since he was drafted, and I can't believe he fell to 12th at the time. It just didn't make any sense, but it was a COVID draft. And he was on the Kings, so he's kind of local to me. It was closest team to me. So I was watching him as a rookie, his first year and a half on local TV, and they traded him. And he's one of the most efficient point guards in the NBA. He doesn't throw a lot of turnovers. I don't know, man. I don't know what they're doing, but good for him. I really like Halliburton. That's my favorite player by far on the Pacers.
All right, we have another guest here to join us. Tucker Minter is back in the Sunoco Posters Report. Tucker, you have a question for Bobby.
Bobby, the people are dying to know what your nickname is. What's a fun nickname that the team uses for you?
I don't know, you tell me.
Word on the street is the people call him the Fresno Fraud, Bobby Zolensky.
I can't believe the Warrington Weapon is talking.
That's right.
The Warrington Weapon over here. How many cars did you hit tonight? I don't know. I didn't see.
Plenty. I hit Casey Kerwin about 5 times. I was ready for him to let me by. I about pile drove Steven at one point, not to mention Garrett Lowe, but I mean, I stick with my nickname, the Warrington Weapon. I'm proud of it. It describes my driving style pretty well.
Hey, I finished third. Not as much of a fraud tonight. All right, not as much as last year's Nashville race when I went backwards.
Yeah, Bobby was beep, beep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Can we get origin stories on Fresno Fraud and Warrington Weapon? Like, there's way more behind this, obviously. So whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, I guess I'll explain. Tucker loves his racing, but loves dirt racing. I didn't really watch too much. And every time we watch dirt racing, it's sprint cars or late models, he's like, what's this guy's nickname? What's this guy's nickname?
I'm trying to teach Bobby the culture of dirt track racing. We don't have enough nicknames in racing anymore. Like, does anybody in NASCAR really have a nickname? No. But then we tune into the dirt late models and we got the Big Perm, Dalton Wilson, I mean, it's just awesome. Superman, Jonathan Davenport. I'm trying to help Bobby have a little more culture. And then we're sitting there watching and we're like, hey, why don't we have some nicknames? So then we got the Fireman, Sets of Merchant. That one was pretty natural. Christopher Money Hill, very natural. He's one of the few people in iRacing with a middle initial. So what does the M stand for? Money, obviously. So Christopher Money Hill. Then it got a little bit more complicated. Ryan Doucette, roast beef. Ryan Doucette started to stick a little bit better. And then Bobby and I, I don't know. We just don't have anything that stands out. So we just had to go off of our towns. And what starts with an F? Fraud. I haven't come up with anything better. Maybe we get some suggestions in the chat. But, Warrington Weapon, I guess, I do drive like a weapon sometimes. Started the season off with a lot of incident points. So there you go.
Yeah, this guy almost got banned from a race. He was such a weapon. So, we basically gave each other our nicknames, to give ourselves some crap. So, that's pretty much the origin story, The
Fireman in the chat is absolutely right. This is almost better than winning the race.
Yeah, the Fireman, that's the best nickname of them all.
Best of them all.
Got the Fireman by George Strait. I heard you guys talk about karaoke. That's our karaoke.
That would be Set the Merchant. Set the Merchant. I mean, everybody like to know what he's got. He can cool them down when they're smoldering hot. Because he's the Fireman.
Yep.
Bobby, question from noted Coke series enthusiast. I don't know if you've heard of this name before. Drew Adamson. Tucker's got 3 wins. Steven's got 3 wins. When are you going to join the Triple Crown Club?
We got some races coming up. We got road course coming up in a few races. We got Kansas next week. Like I said, that car's on the truck. So, we got Dover coming up. Dover, listen, likelihood of me winning is as good as anybody else. But I got to win that damn race. I got to win a Dover race because I love that place. It's like my favorite oval on the schedule. The keyword oval. So I gotta try to maybe win next week, win Dover, get tied up with those boys for sure.
All right. I got a question here from Seth the Merchant in chat. Tucker, especially for you. Are you more happy with this interview than you were with winning the race and all the lore that
it's
you
definitely
just,
pretty even. I mean, I really want Evan Pasecco on the broadcast to introduce Seth the Merchant as the Fireman at least once. Same with Christopher Money Hill. I mean, those are the real nicknames. Bobby and I, ours aren't perfect yet. They haven't really developed. But the Fireman and Christopher Money Hill, those are real nicknames. So I'm pretty happy getting this out.
Yeah, our nicknames are a bit more, negative. Theirs are positive.
Those are awesome. I mean, we were on
Money
stage.
Hill won. He won the Coke 600.
We were on stage at Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend. Christopher Money Hill doing a Q&A, and even the DJ there introduced him as Christopher Money Hill. I mean, it's just who he is. It's who he is.
I agree. Just top tier, amazing. Also, a little note from Parker White's mom in chat for you, Tucker. George Strait is touring this summer. If you want to go see him.
I saw he was in Philadelphia right around the week of my birthday, and it was during the off season or the off weeks we had. But unfortunately, I missed that concert. I would like to see George Strait because most of the music that I listen to is by the old country singers that are passing away. So maybe I can catch George Strait before he retires from touring.
Yeah, all this guy listens to his country, so can't get him to listen to anything else.
That's right.
Still has culture.
That's solid country gold.
Like good old like Randy Travis and stuff like that. I like the thought of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Love RT. RT's got
who wrinkled my Randy Travis poster.
But there we go. Tucker Minter, appreciate it. Thank you for coming back in, hopping on with us. And Bobby, yeah. So I want to make sure we touch on this officially, just be safe. Sounds like you have a litany of karaoke choices, but are there any songs sort of in your playlist that we haven't heard yet?
I mean, this is Fireman by George Strait. This is the team song. There's only one option, brother. It's the Fireman, in honor of Seth the Fireman DeMerchant.
Fair. Seth the Fireman. I've also been told by one Justin Willow, but the V in my middle name stands for victory, but it doesn't pan out as well as Seth the Fireman DeMerchant. I like Seth the Fireman DeMerchant better. What do you think, Willow? I think that's a better one, right? We got to take that one for a W, yeah?
Absolutely.
Fair things. Bobby, anything else you want the people to know here as we get ready for the back half of segment 2?
Yeah, just come watch me race and buy Core Power if you want muscles.
Simple math, I think. Bobby Zielinski, thank you so much for your time, your evening, and appreciate it as always. Thanks for dropping all the knowledge on it.
Yep, we'll see you in 7 days.
Where Bobby Z is going to look for a win at Kansas, which is also, crazily enough, Keenan, that's going to wrap up segment 2, which is wild to think that it's going exactly like that.
Yeah, and it's not even just that. I think we touched on it a little bit tonight, James, where they're on a run of a lot of races back to back, all kind of culminating on that July 1st race in Chicago. But here's your current results from tonight. Just as another reminder, some new names at the top and some names we've seen already, of course. Minty Fresh, I'm going to keep trying until that sticks. Tucker Minter towards the top of the board. And again, a caution-free race here at Nashville this evening.
A caution-free race that I think saw those who had really good racecraft and long-run pace rise to the top and get those good finishes. This is not a race that you can cheat. Here's a look at your Segment 2 driver standings. 1 week to go on that. So Bobby Z in position, as he said. If he can finish 5th or better, he will clinch the Segment 2 crown over Steven Wilson and Tucker Minter, but work to be done still. And Kansas is a place where we've seen the races turn on their heads very, very quickly, especially late in the going. Here's a look at our playoff standings. Dylan alt +4 on the cut line over Dylan Duvall. So battle of the Dylans for that last spot, Keenan, maybe?
Yeah, we got one. I'm always got to pull for my guy from Nova Scotia over Dylan Duval, but really, really close battle, especially a lot of momentum over there in the Channel 199 camp. So be a really good eye to look out on both of those drivers and see who ends up staying above that cut line towards the end here of our regular season.
That battle will get very fun as we start to roll into the summer months. We've mentioned it a lot. We're going to be there in 1 week. Kansas Speedway, one of the best tracks in Mile High, traditionally one of the better tracks for entertainment in the Coke Series. Back on the calendar for 2025. You'll see that race next Tuesday night on eNASCAR.com/live. Pre-race at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Race broadcast at 8, and your Sunoco post-race report to follow. A big thanks to everybody that took part in tonight's broadcast. For our countdown to Green Team, Camille Salazar, Hadaway, Alec Cavana, and a special shout out to Jake Sperry doing a great job filling in for Ryan Vargas. For our broadcast team, Evan Pasoko and Kenneth Bueno, and for our team here on the Sunoco Post-Race Report, Keaton Kusin, Jacob Seelman, and our good man Justin Melillo from iRacing. And a big shout out to Drew Adamson and the production team behind the scenes at iRacing for making everything look and sound fantastic. I'm James Pike. Thank you all so much for watching the Sunoco Post-Race Report for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series at Nashville. We will see you in the Sunflower State. Kansas City beckons in 1 week time. Cannot wait to close out segment 2.